The Pat McAfee Show.
There'll be no rules for our guests, for us, for the things we could talk about.
Yes, speaking his mind.
I've never had a problem expressing my opinions or my thoughts or anything like that.
While being relatable.
I haven't had that manufactured fake-ass celebrity that a lot of people have whenever they go on those big networks. I've had a chance to really build my crew, build my following, build my audience.
And ridiculous.
What am I supposed to do? So I'm supposed to look at something that I can definitely afford and say, nah. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
The Pat McAfee Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Well, good afternoon, beautiful people. It is Wednesday, October 14th, 2020, and the Pat McAfee Show begins right now. Hello, Sirius XM, Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82. Good afternoon to everybody watching on YouTube. It is a glorious Wednesday in the sports world. So much drama, so much controversy, so much for the Bills and Josh Allen being an MVP candidate. I'm not saying that. One bad game, especially one that's on Tuesday for the second time in like 70 years in the NFL's history, cannot change our viewpoint on the massive growth that Josh Allen has shown from his first year to his second year and from last year into this year being his third year. But last night, a team that hasn't been in their facility for 2 weeks, a team that had an outbreak of a virus that shut down the world inside of their facility, a team that everybody on earth bet against last night, and a team that everybody on earth was rooting against last night, the Tennessee Titans absolutely trample the Buffalo Bills. It was a nonstop throttling. The only negative that came from the Titans last night was that Tannehill almost blew out his ACL doing a finger roll celebration after he ran one in wide open. Not to talk about he threw a wide open touchdown with his foot still on the line of scrimmage that they didn't call back. Derrick Henry stiff-armed Josh Norman out of the stadium. I mean, there was a lot of big moments for the Tennessee Titans last night, but also not just for the Tennessee Titans, but for every NFL player that has ever said, does practice matter? Does practice even matter? Whenever I came into the NFL, Jim Caldwell was our head coach. Jim Caldwell came from the Tony Dungy regime, which was there beforehand, obviously. And we had an older team at the time. Obviously, Peyton Manning and the boys were the mainstay of the roster, but they were an older team. And all Jim Caldwell said every single week was, we want to be the freshest and the fastest team on Sunday. Freshest, fastest. That's all he cared about. So now, granted, Peyton ran the practices, and if Peyton wanted to redo a period or 10, we would do that. But it felt like our time on the field was not as long as it did become at certain different times whenever teams were trying to figure things out. The meeting room was paramount. It was like, hey, we're going to watch more film. We're going to be the freshest, fastest, and most prepared, I guess was the third one there. And for me, it didn't matter. I'm kicking the ball left or right, but you get what I'm saying. They watched more film. They went through more things mentally. They did walkthroughs at a different level. There was a lot of things about being the freshest and the fastest team. And I'm saying them because I literally just watched it happen because I didn't have to really do much to begin with. But that team, every single Sunday, was ready to go. And the reason it was, I always thought, because they were a mature team and they could handle that. Like, hey, they'll get the business done off the field that they need to get done so that they are the freshest and the fastest on Sunday, even though you're not getting the conditioning and the cardio and the practice during the week. And that team was able to do it. Last night with the Tennessee Titans, 2 weeks, very early in the season, before that team really even knows what they are this year, out of the building. 2 weeks of not being able to be in a strength or a weight room that is an NFL weight room. 2 weeks of them having to stay conditioned. 2 weeks of them having to watch film by themselves without having somebody who hover over top of them telling them to watch film. 2 weeks of all that. And they come out and just from beginning to end beat the shit out of the Buffalo Bills. I mean, just absolutely beat the shit out of the... Now, Josh Allen didn't have his greatest game. The first pick everybody saw is off guys' hands. Malcolm Butler, who I don't think has had an interception since the Super Bowl.
Nope.
He takes one last night, makes a great move, almost goes there. Then he has another one because of an overthrow in a drive that they had to make. But I guess Dan Orlovsky told me that play was a zigzag situation. It wasn't on Josh Allen,
right?
Which we will talk to Dan Orlovsky, by the way, in the third hour. We will also talk to Andrew Brandt, former, he's just super business guy in sports. He did, I don't know if he's a general manager for the Packers, but he was like the
VP of Finance.
VP of Finance for the Packers. At one point, he was an agent alongside Michael Jordan's agent. I mean, he's done everything you could possibly do in the sports business world. We want to talk to him about Lev Bell. In the Lev Bell situation, because this feels like this is potentially a Leonard Fournette double dip type situation where you're a running back who gets cut from your team somehow because they say they tried to trade you and nobody will bite, so you just get cut. So they eat all the money. And you can get your contract that the previous team that cut you has to pay you and another team's contract, as long as it's less, I think, than the original contract, which I believe is $6.6 million is what the Jets potentially owe him this year. Diggs, am I right in that number?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
$6.6 million. So if he goes and gets a deal that's less than that or whatever, like let's say it's $1 million deal, he'll make $1 million from the new team, 6.6 from the Jets. They still have to pay him. We'll put that together. We'll talk to Andrew Brand about that because this is a very, very interesting happenstance. Le'Veon Bell just gets cut. We heard yesterday he was up on the trade block. We all said that was going to be a very tough sell because of the contract that it was and everything like that. Then a couple hours later, it comes out he's cut. Then after that, it comes out that they've been trying to trade him since last year's trade deadline. Then it comes out that is it because he liked 2 tweets that basically question the way Adam Gase is using? I mean, there is so much drama in the Jets organization. If you're a good player, you can get out of there just by speaking out or liking a tweet that says that your head coach is bad. I mean, there is some insane shit going on. But now we have to ask, where's Le'Veon Bell going? Le'Veon Bell, if he is anything like, and we don't know, hey, we don't know if he's anything like he was 3 years ago, okay? 3 years ago, incredible player. Then he holds out for a year because he won 17 M's a year, I believe. He said that in a freestyle in his front yard before tossing keys or a ball to a friend. I forget what it was. Good flow, by the way. He says he won 17 M's a year. He sits out an entire year with the Pittsburgh Steelers. In said year, he moves down to South Florida. He makes a rap album. He was partying on yachts, having a good time. To be honest, looked like he was not really missing the game much at all and was succeeding, by the way. Those rap album debut parties looked like they were having a good time.
Awesome.
They were a good time. So I was like really pumped for him. Then his holdout works. He gets a bigger deal than he was going to get offered from the Pittsburgh Steelers to go to the New York Jets. That New York Jets team, which has now paid him $28 million to play in 18 games, that GM that signed him was fired. The coach fired. Adam Gase, new GM, and new head coach Adam Gase come in. They're stuck with his contract. He doesn't like them. They don't like him. So now it's just kind of like, who budges first here? And it felt like the Jets said, we're picking Adam Gase over Le'Veon Bell. Because if this is all because of Le'Veon Bell's comments about Adam Gase, then that would mean if you don't pick the one side, it means you have to pick the other. Or are they just planning on firing Gase after this year too, and they're just doing Bell like a, yeah, you're probably going to be gone after this year anyways. Go ahead and find a new team. It's very interesting over there. But who signs Lev Bell? I think it's potentially the Buccaneers. Ooh. Why do I think that? Not sure. Just feels like it's possible at this point. It really does just feel like it's possible at this point. They only got like $2.2 million, but what we just said about the double dip on the contract like they did with Leonard Fournette, they don't have to pay him that much, I think. I think he's going to go to a team that could be a winner. If you're Le'Veon Bell, why would you want to go to another team that stinks? You probably don't. You're at the Steelers, good team, playing for playoffs. You go to the Jets, bad team, not playing for anything. Life was kind of miserable there. Or maybe it wasn't. Maybe it's just collect a paycheck, whoever's going to pay me. Not 100% sure, but it feels like the Bucs are a place. They got a couple injuries in the backfield. They have a lot of talent back there, but nothing like Le'Veon Bell if he can play like he played 3 years ago before the yachts and the raps and everything and the Jets and the Adam Gase umbrella, which we know is a problem. Mm-hmm. Adam Gase has ruined a lot of careers. I just don't know where he goes, but I'm here for it. I think it's potentially the Buccaneers, maybe the Patriots. Ooh. Maybe he ends up at the Patriots just strictly because it's the Patriots, and that would make a lot of sense. And if Cam Newton and Lev Bell are in the backfield there, let's assume that's potentially going to be successful. And if he can buy in to the Patriot way, which nobody really knows what that means, because whenever people explain the Patriot way, they basically say, oh, they work hard, they watch film, and they eat right. It's like, well, oh, so they just win. So that's the Patriot way. Maybe he ends up there. Maybe he ends up somewhere else. Who knows? We'll talk about that today. Our first guest in about 14 minutes will be Mark Schlaret. I'm sure he has some takes on this. I mean, we got a big-ass Wednesday. All the boys are here at Tone Diggs. Last night we lost our bet, but we went down as a team.
We did lose our bet, and little did we know, like we didn't get this information from the Titans locker room, that they were in there getting motivation from people accurately pointing out that they practiced when they shouldn't have practiced, and all this woe is me bullshit coming out of that locker room.
I heard you did not like that afterwards. They did play like the world's against us, which, by the way, I do believe they are accurate. The world was turning against them. You don't think so?
Well, yeah, we were, but they had 24 cases of COVID when I think every other team, like the highest was like 2 maybe. So maybe you did do something wrong. But good for them for turning around into motivation.
Well, and I think what does have to be looked at, and I tweeted this last night, is one of the side effects of COVID, because we don't know much about COVID.
No, we don't.
We don't know much about COVID at this point. We still don't know. I think every day maybe we learn something new at this point, and who would have thought we'd be here? But maybe one of the side effects of COVID is that you get better at football.
Possible.
I don't know. Is Fauci going to look into that? I know he's got a lot of other stuff going on, but this is potentially a ripple effect. Let's see what happens around the league. If another team gets it, how they perform. But this is something that we cannot wipe off the table, because I don't think anybody expected them to be able to perform the way they did, especially when it comes to conditioning and cardio, because doesn't COVID attack the lungs? So they didn't practice for 2 weeks. They couldn't condition, and half their roster had a lung thing. And last night they just right through the entire thing.
Wild.
Is a side effect that you get good at football? That is a real question that I have that I would like to be answered.
Also, shout out Ryan Daniel. He is, since he has got out from under Gase, one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
Stud.
Athlete. I don't know how he didn't break his leg on that celebration. That's like Martin Gramatica back in the day. Everybody makes fun of kickers because of that situation. Like, kickers celebrate and they tear their ACLs. That happens or whatever. And I'm just like, okay, well, maybe it's just that particular kicker. We ever think about that? If that happens to a quarterback, terrible, obviously. I don't like that because Daniel's so good. But and then it's not just the kickers that have done it, and that because that's a real thing. His leg looked like it hyperextended.
It did, big time.
And I was oh my God. And then I watched him jog to the sideline. There wasn't even a grimace on his face. I was like, I don't know. Is this guy? He must be very pliable. It must be TB12.
Yeah.
Must be TB12. But that looked bad.
Is that the COVID doing that?
I don't know. Does COVID make you
Ligaments more pliable?
more pliability?
Whoa.
I don't know. Is TB12 actually just COVID?
The immunity pills, I think so. Yeah.
Wow.
It was very interesting, though. When I saw that, I was like, damn, he just hurt himself. And the entire second half, I think everybody thought they were going to die off. I think I did, because I'm like, oh, there's no way these guys out of the facility were working out as hard as they would be in the facility, whether it's running or anything like that. Yeah. And they didn't. It almost felt like they got stronger and better. It's good for them. I mean, it's early in the season still, but good for them. At Boston Connor, if Le'Veon Bell goes to the Patriots, I think the whole world will be once again upset. And the whole world will say the other 31 teams could have signed him, because this is going to be the situation. The other 31 teams could have signed him. They won't. If Bill Belichick signs him, everybody will go, of course Bill Belichick signs him. It's like, yeah. This is what Bill would do, but I'm not saying they will. But this is one of those situations where you can see it happening, that Bill Belichick's the smartest guy in the room again.
Well, Cam and Lev Bell in the same backfield is detrimental to the entire NFL, like you said. But we have to also keep in account that Lev Bell probably wants to get back at the Jets pretty good. So he might want to stay in the division, come on over to the Patriots, and then stick it real good to the Jets. Score, I don't know, 4 or 5 touchdowns in one game against
do what you got to do, pal.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is whenever he's not in the backfield, he's a slot receiver. If he is still the guy that he was 3 years ago. That is the big question. Is he still capable of playing like the guy that played 3 years ago? By the way, wouldn't blame him if he couldn't. Wouldn't blame him if he couldn't.
Of course not.
He got $28 million in 18 games. Nick pointed that out earlier. That is quite an incentive to maybe not want to get beat to death every single Sunday. That might be. It may be the time off. He did lose a little bit, because we did see early Gronk was kind of like pulling back from massive contact, because it is a terribly difficult position, both tight end and running back. I think Gronk is getting back into it, and I'm not saying Lev Bell is anywhere near there, but if he's anything like the 3 years ago Lev Bell, you can play him at slot, and then you can move him to the backfield when you need him. And in a team that doesn't have a lot of weapons up there with New England, that would be a decision that the Bill Belichick would make, and everybody would be like, of course he did.
It is a thought, like maybe, Lev Bell isn't what he used to be, but let's remember, when you're in the eye of Hurricane Gase, I mean, there's nothing you can do, but you are locked down. So right now, he's slowly getting out of there. He's slowly coming back. I have no worries that Lev Bell is Lev Bell and that he'll go off wherever he goes to. Let's just hope it's New England.
Jim Cantor puts his waders on and goes into Hurricane Gase every single day, and all he sees is shit flying everywhere. There's cows. It's like the movie Twister in that Gase hurricane in there. And when you're in the eye of it, you're done for. We saw one of the potential victims of that last night. He's got paid over $100 million since leaving the Gase umbrella and has become an absolutely incredible quarterback in Tannehill. We've seen it time and time again. Robbie Anderson is out there doing it. Devontae Parker. I mean, you just go down the list of names of all these people who are very good whenever he's not around. Yeah. Is Lev Bell going to be that guy? What's up, dude?
Does it give you confidence in him that last year with Gase, he did have 800 rushing yards and 66 catches for 461 yards?
Yeah, so he still got it. Guy still got it.
He weathered the storm then.
He did weather that.
Difficult.
But I'll tell you what, whenever you just got your house getting beat down on so much by that hurricane, at some point you're inevitably going to tap out. At some point, you're going to have to not go as hard as you would go because the guy that is in the hurricane, controlling the hurricane, a la the Truman Show up there, is just a miserable mess and not good at what he does. You could see how that could happen for Le'Veon Bell.
The Lev Bell bomb shelter was running out of supplies. I mean, he had to get out of that basement. And let's hope that we can just watch Le'Veon Bell be amazing at football again, because it is so entertaining to watch him dance around in the backfield and go for 60 and a score.
When we played the Steelers, when he was there, listening to defensive coaches talk about his style of running was fucking awesome. Chuck Pagano, whenever we play him. Now, I don't think they paid enough attention to Ben Roethlisberger, okay, if I had to hindsight it, and I think that was very evident with the outcomes of said games. But whenever he would talk about Le'Veon Bell, and then they would show highlights. They would show Le'Veon Bell highlights. And I think Chuck called him Magic Man, okay? Because now you see me, now you don't. Okay, listen, this guy, you got to tackle him through the ground, okay? This isn't like because he will disappear on you. And then he rose the highlight here. Look. Wait, gone. It was just like watching him talk about Le'Veon Bell and then watching the clips as he was talking about it. He was like, damn, this guy is unbelievable. I think he was one of the only people that was really talked about the way that he was talked about that day. It was just like listening to them talk about Le'Veon Bell was like, oh, damn. And then the reactions in the room, obviously, to some highlights, there was like a lot of woo, like a lot of that. So if he could get back to that, the NFL is better with that guy playing like that. But I think it involves a lot of touches. Like, I think he has to get the ball a lot.
Good old line.
I think he has to get into like a rhythm. I think he has to get into like that type of thing. And I think he has to be with an offensive line for a while, because I think they have to learn about each other. Because now, granted, I don't know how difficult it is to be an offensive lineman ever, because that is a terrible job to have. I mean, it is a very difficult job. But when you got a running back behind you that'll literally just wait for you to make a decision and then go. I mean, it's probably an interesting world, but he gets behind a good offensive line. Who knows what the hell is going to happen? At Ty Schmidt, what are your thoughts, bub?
Well, it's actually funny because last night, not on Le'Veon Bell, but I was watching that game, and for a second there, I thought I was watching the game from like 2018 or something.
Why is that?
Well, I'm just expecting Josh Allen to come out and throw for 600 yards and 8 touchdowns. But
why are you doing this? Because the Bills Mafia came after us a little bit?
Well, yeah, and they always, I'm just trying to, Rodgers is playing much better than Josh Allen. He's having a nice year. He's having a nice year. He is.
Why are you kicking a guy when he's down right now?
When you get beat like that, like when you get just absolutely fucking dog walked that, is there any dissension? And not dissension in the locker room, but it's like, well, okay, maybe we should pump the brakes and we're not as good as we thought we were.
I would assume everybody outside the locker room is thinking that. I don't know if the Bills inside the locker room bought into their own hype, right? I don't know if Sean McDermott runs that type of operation over there.
I wouldn't expect that.
Where they got to get better and better. And I think also, we talked about this on Hammer Don yesterday with Michael Lombardi, former general manager and advisor and counsel, and everything. The guy just knows football. It is talking to Michael Lombardi is just absolutely unbelievable. But his big thing was, whenever we're gambling, every time I talk to him, I feel like I learned something brand new about football. It's like next level football. But when we're talking to him about gambling, he was like, we have to stop overreacting to one performance the next week. Because in the gambling world, what have you done for me lately? And I think books are taking advantage of people thinking like that. So they set a line where you, in your mind, you're like, oh, this team stunk last week. They're going to get blown out. But if you look at previous weeks, they were good. I think the Buffalo Bills could have potentially just had a Tuesday night nightmare. Right. I think where things bobbled ball pick all the way down. I mean, there was just numerous things you're watching. It's like, this is just not their night. So I don't think Bills Mafia or anybody in the locker room is like distraught or whatever. In the locker room, you can't, because there's another game coming. So you can't think about what happened before. Fans do that a lot more. They think about what happened. They're upset more. And then sometimes they'll hear a player on like Wednesday or Thursday be like, we can't think about that. We got to move forward. And sometimes fans can get upset. They're like, we care more than you do. It's like, no. Because if you do, what's going to happen next week is you're going to get your ass kicked again. Right. So I think the Bills are probably excited to get back on the field again after what happened. And I'm not 100% out on the Bills at this point. I just think they had a terrible game. Terrible game. That was bad.
What if they turn around and get the shit beat out of them by the Chiefs?
And then the Chiefs, by the way, are only at -4.5, which is, by the way, this is the sports books trying to get us to do exactly. This is FanDuel trying to do exactly what we just referred to about overreacting, being like, the Chiefs are going to kill them. And maybe they will. But if the Chiefs put together 4 quarters in a while that make you go, hey, that team's that team. New power ranking out on NFL.com has the Green Bay Packers at number 1. There is a new king of the clubhouse in the NFL, says the NFL.com. We'll talk about that. But on the other side, we have Mark Schlaret joining us. Mark Stink Schlaret.
Yes.
How many Super Bowls do you win? 2. 3.
3.
3?
3.
2.
One with the Washington football team, 2 with the Broncos. I am almost positive.
Hey, by the way,
2 Broncos.
very impressive self-edit.
Great
right there.
work.
Thank you.
Before we get to this break, Zito, will you tell us the update on the poll and what your big-ass poll is of the day?
Yes, sir. It is where will Lev Bell land? Right now, Bears 30.8%, Patriots 39.8%, Buccaneers 12.3%, and Steelers 17%.
Okay. Patriots in the lead. That's because everybody's thinking the same exact thing we are. Of course. That's what everybody will say as soon as it happens. Of course. He'll be starting this weekend.
If
He'll go for 100 and 100.
Oh, yeah.
100 receiving, 100 rushing this weekend.
3 touchdowns.
And then he'll have a press conference after the game and go, I'm just so thankful to be with the Patriots organization.
The opportunity.
I'm just trying to work all I can.
It's a tough life being a Patriots fan.
Oh, it's going to
sometimes,
happen.
man.
All right, we got to get to a break. On the other side, Stink Schlaret. We'll talk to him about everything happening in the NFL, which is a lot. This is the Pat McAfee Show here on Sirius XM Channel 82, Mad Dog Sports. Right here. Mr. Aaron Rodgers. How was the bye week? You weren't allowed to leave. You weren't allowed to do anything. What did you do?
I didn't do anything. I had the COVID test every morning, just like all of our guys.
Make sure you vote. Listen, if you don't vote, not having Aaron Rodgers Tuesday ever again, okay? Make sure you vote.
First Tuesday in November, right? So we're just going to skip this show.
No. Did you watch anything like maybe Ted Lasso during the bye week to help that entire thing out?
I didn't watch Ted last night.
Jesus.
Come on.
Unbelievable. Don't vote, Aaron. Hey, don't vote.
You know, in a tent in nature, just camping on my own property.
You camped out on your own property during the bye week?
Yeah, I'm kidding about that.
Oh, my.
Did you really wear number 40 at West Virginia?
Yeah, it was my GPA and my favorite drink.
Oh, you are wearing shorts.
Yeah, come on, bro.
Pat doesn't believe me that they don't give Toradol shots there.
They don't. Yeah, they don't give turtles shots. But Age would drink this green legume drink that I'm sure was legal, but it made his body he had the worst gas you could find.
How do you maintain that high level for so long? Is it like super competitive? Like you have to be an ultra competitive human being to be a quarterback?
Well, I think it starts with being hyper competitive. You know, I think that's a trait with all the long time great players is you just have. I love to compete. I think the most important thing is you have to be self-motivated, and again, that may seem like a standard statement, but it's not. I mean, not every player is self-motivated.
Hey, how's Jordan Love doing? We don't hear much about him.
You know, this is a good time for him to learn, to see what it looks like, to see what the week's preparation look like, and just kind of soak it all up.
And does that change where you throw the ball to people if they're more of a body catcher or a hands catcher or anything like that?
You know, anybody that catches the ball with their hands, it just changes the whole catch rate. It changes the whole confidence you have in throwing them. But anybody that naturally catches the ball with their hands probably gets a few more looks. I would say this: there's places that I would like to go in the future, and one of them is Egypt.
Ooh. When were the pyramids and the Sphinx? When were they constructed? Also, like, what kind of technology did they use?
It was aliens. Say it.
Yeah, it was definitely aliens.
Bingo. Yeah, there it is, by the way.
McAfee Show.
That's the name of the show. It is the Pat McAfee Show. I am the person the show is named after. I am a former ball kicker and an absolute idiot who speaks into a microphone on a daily basis about sports. And it is ridiculous that this is a job. Joining us now is a man who does the same damn thing. Ladies and gentlemen, the big handsome, 3-time Super Bowl champ, guy who is an entrepreneur as well.
Oh, yeah.
Has a chili out there that is delicious. It's almost chili season, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Feels like it's almost chili season. Ladies and
love
gentlemen,
chili.
the handsome Mark Schlaret.
That's very, very kind of you, Pat. Very kind of you. I need to know where I can get for the brand T-shirt. I'll tell you what. Let's make a deal.
Okay.
You throw me a couple of for brand T-shirts, or maybe a hat and a T-shirt, and I'll ship you out some green chili and
Well-
queso.
Well, for the brand, okay? For the brand.
Yeah, for the brand.
Yeah.
You know I've said it many times on TV.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Aaron Rodgers did for the brand T-shirt.
Yeah.
And and now Aaron's a bigger deal than me. I get it.
No. Yeah.
I totally understand.
Yeah.
Got more
No,
Super Bowls?
yeah, kind of though.
Yeah, kind of, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. But I'm okay with that. So let's get on the trading table here.
What size? Double?
Double would be tremendous.
Well, we got one for you.
Do you get a chance to work? Yeah, we got one that got shipped to the office. We don't know how it got here, but we're pretty pumped. It'll be on your way. What color would you like? We'll figure that out off air. But I would like.
You guys, whatever you throw my way, I will proudly wear.
Oh, an entire gift package is coming, pal. We are pumped about that, Stink. Now you're traveling for games with Adam Amin. You guys are very good together, by the way. So
Thank you.
it's a fun game to listen to. Last year when I was traveling around doing games and all that stuff, I weighed 275 pounds at one point. Do you get fat during the season? Is it difficult for you during the season?
Yes, I have gotten very fat during my first several seasons of doing football. As a matter of fact, I'd say about 12 weeks ago, I was 270, 269. Right now I'm about 245.
Woo! Wow. Let's go.
Yeah. And so anybody listening right now, so I've got, here's the deal. All right. I'm going to help you guys out. All right. Get your pen, get your paper out, and get yourself ready to write. Here's the deal. Okay. You want to lose weight? Stop eating.
Oh,
Okay.
Holy shit.
so we don't do that.
All right.
Yes,
Stop
eating.
eating.
That's been the key, really.
That's option 2.
Everyone's walking on the treadmill and doing all that. Just quit eating. You'll lose weight.
Well, we're proud of you
It's
for
not
being
that
able to.
hard.
I'll tell you what, it is very difficult, especially whenever I got that stink chili on.
wow.
So,
That's keto friendly, man. You're gonna be okay on this one. You'll be fine.
all right,
You'll be fine.
let's talk about the football that you cover, and we appreciate that. Zito Wood is still waiting for option 2 on how we can potentially lose weight quickly, but I mean that's on you, and you guys will figure that out. Lev Bell gets cut last night.
Yeah.
This happens in the middle of a Tuesday night football game, second time in 70 years or whatever. And obviously we could talk about the Bills just getting their ass beat by a team that hasn't practiced in 2 weeks, and there's a lot of conversation to be had there. We will have that. But Le'Veon Bell getting cut, do you think, in your very sophisticated opinion, he is anything like the player he was 3 years ago whenever he was at the Pittsburgh Steelers before the holdout and before Hurricane Gase got a hold of him, which we have seen a resume of ruining players that Hurricane Gase has done. Do you think he's anywhere near the same player he was 3 years ago when he was unbelievable, like a spectacle to watch on a gamely basis? And where do you think he ends up at this point, depending on that answer?
Yeah, listen. Obviously, you're 3 years older, which doesn't help, but there's not a lot of tread on the tires in those 3 years. It's not like he's played a ton of football. He sat out for a year, and I think he was injured with the Jets in the first year there. So it's not like he's done a lot. I always worry about guys from the standpoint of, do you love football or do you love the ancillary things that come with money in football? Do you love the cars? Do you love the women? Do you love the lifestyle? Do you love all those things? Or do you actually love the game? Because the game is hard. And, that would be my question for Le'Veon Bell. Do you really love the game? Because if he really loves the game, I would say that he still has plenty of tread on the tires to be exceptional at this game at the running back position, because he has that versatility, that duality to be able to run the ball tough between the tackles, the speed, get outside, and his ability from the backfield not only the backfield to catch, but he can run routes from, the slot like a receiver. So, yeah, I would say that he still has, an ability to be an effective player. Do you want to play? Do you really want to put in that work? And I get it. Like, I get going to an organization like the Jets. Like, I watch the Jets play, and I'm thinking to myself, is it too late for the Jets to opt out? A lot of players opted out, right? A lot of players decided, hey, man, COVID's too tough. I don't want to play. And I respect that, and I understand that. But I think the Jets might go retroactively say, hey, on second thought, we don't want to play anymore. We're opting out of the season. Like, we're just done.
It sounds like said dog agrees with you there.
Yeah, Romeo, you're a dog. Pipe down.
Romeo.
That's good name.
You gotta let him know. Sometimes he forgets. He thinks he's part of the conversation.
Yeah, I understand. If his name's Romeo, by the way, he should be peacocking all around that damn house. That's a great name for a dog. What type of dog is it?
It's a Lasso.
Ted?
Something or other. It's kind of a mutt,
Small, big?
It's bigger than it should be, because he's really my wife's dog. And, here come my wife just comes in the door. He always starts barking when I do interviews. He just, he wants to be part of the conversation.
Hey, we love Romeo. We're pumped he got involved right there, and hopefully he'll get a treat for doing such a thing and agreeing to you. But that's interesting what you said there about Lev Bell and whether or not he loves football because it's a tough game. Everybody wants to be a Lion until it comes time to do what Lions do is kind of the old quote that a lot of coaches have and things like that. Because there are people that get captivated by the NFL lifestyle, and they want to put it on their Twitter resume or they want to put it on their Instagram or they want to take a picture in the facility. But then whenever it comes to, okay, now this is what you have to do it. You're not going to be going out, really. You're going to be going to bed early, especially in this COVID year. You're going to be staying in your apartment. You have to make sure you're working out. You have to watch more film than anybody else. You have to treat this as if you're getting a doctorate in football. Those are all the things that you kind of realize quickly that outside of like maybe 1% of the NFL guys that don't have to really try that hard and they're just unbelievable, that is what it takes to be in the NFL. And it's very quick. You can realize like, oh, that person has no idea what this means to be here. Like they think just getting here, getting it on their Twitter bio is enough. And at this point, $28 million in 18 games for Lev Bell, $28 million. If his entire mission was to get money, which he rapped and said that it is, but I think that is just kind of a rapper thing. He's already done that. Him saying there's still a lot more to prove, I feel like he potentially does have a mindset where he wants to still play. I hope so, because when he's playing, it is awesome to watch, Mark.
Dude, when he was playing, when he did what he did in Pittsburgh, the vision that he had, the ability to set his blockers up. That's one of the things that blew me away when I would watch film is how patient he could be. How like just his movement across the board, across the line of scrimmage, and basically setting up one player to get an edge on another player and then bouncing outside of that player and then waiting for somebody to climb to the second level linebacker and just being so patient and letting that block develop and then cutting up underneath that block. I mean, it was like nobody had ever watched do it before. And then, like we talked about, his ability outside to line up and be a receiver in those situations. The guy is a great player when he wants to play. And again, there are those organizations that you go to that, and the Jets seem to be one of those organizations that you're just like, you know what, I made a mistake. Like this is a train wreck. And I don't know how you could describe the Jets as anything other than a train wreck right now.
Dumpster fire. But the Le'Veon Bell saga, you were obviously Super Bowl champion, offensive lineman, center, word number 69, legend in everything that you've really ever done. Being an offensive line, does he have to go to a place that has a good offensive line? Like, is that obviously he's going to go somewhere that wins, right? He's with the Pittsburgh Steelers. They work and practice for playoff games, meaningful games. The Jets, it doesn't feel like you're showing up at practice for anything that's potentially meaningful, especially at this point. So it might be, I assume he's going to go somewhere good. And I think he can double dip contract wise because the Jets have to pay him and somewhere else can pay him. You might as well go to a place that has a good team and a chance to really win it all. Does it matter how great the offensive line is, or does he make the offensive line better because of his running style? Or is it something where they have to learn about each other because he runs unlike anybody else that has ever really done it before in the NFL?
Yeah, I think that, I mean, obviously it helps to go to a good offensive line. But, it's like when I was here in Denver blocking for Terrell Davis when he was going, for 1,700 yards and 2,000 yards and doing all those things. I used to say all the time, the guy makes up for a multitude of sins. Like, you don't have to block him that long when you got a guy like that in your backfield. And And again, the way he sets up blocks, he can make guys a lot better. So I would say that Le'Veon Bell, if he went to a place that had a good system, a good quarterback, good O-line, that would be beneficial. But he'll help make an average O-line better. And that's, that's the beauty. If that's what he wants to do and that's what he's willing to sacrifice to do, then I think all those things are true.
The interesting thing here is he's going to end up at the Patriots, and everybody's going to go, of course. Of course he is. Or he'll end up at the Bucks, and everybody be like, of course Tom Brady signed him. I don't know how many teams are really going to reach out to him. I'll be intrigued to see that. Let's talk about that game last night, Mark. Should we dive into what happened to the Bills last night playing against a team that had a virus outbreak in their facility that shut down the entire world and hadn't practiced for 2 weeks and got just absolute beaten to shit last night from beginning to end of that game? Is there anything we should look at the Bills differently, or should we be looking at the Titans differently because of this?
No, I think you look at the Titans a little bit differently. I mean, first and foremost, I got a bunch of people on Twitter telling me, you can pound sand about your Titans take and the fact that, the Titans. Like the Titans went to this high school thing to practice and they didn't get penalized for it. And, they broke protocol, but they didn't know they broke protocol. Say whatever you want. I don't really give a rip. I'm not going to apologize for any of that. But to act like the Titans were a victim, I think is just ridiculous.
Mark, hold on. Mark, I want to let you know. Our guy Diggs, his first take on the show today was he was sick of the Mickey Mouse
this woe is me
BS
bullshit, Mark.
victim thing. But by the way, if they use that as motivation, you got to respect it. But you're not the only one that feels that way. I think a lot of people feel that way.
I think it was harder for the Bills. At least the Titans had the league in their ear every day going, okay, your facility's shut down. You can't come to practice. You can't do this. You can't do that. Every day they had an update based on their COVID tests and everything else. The Bills were just sitting around waiting. Can we practice today? How much can we practice? What if we play on Sunday? What if we play on Monday? What if it gets pushed back till Tuesday? It's they're just sitting there waiting. I think it was more difficult being in the Bills position than it was in the Tennessee Titans position. And listen, no disrespect to what they did. They came out and thunder punched them in the throat. I mean, it was just like wham, wham. And they're going, ha, 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 ha. Yeah, I mean, when you get thunder punched in the throat, it's hard to speak. And that's what they did to the Bills. And good for them. I mean, here's what I love about them. To find to get to your destination, like the most direct route to your destination is to have a plan and understand what you are and how you're going to get there, right?
Yep.
If you don't know what you are, if you don't have an identity built, you can stop at any, hey, the world's biggest ball of twine, let's pull in. We got to check that out, right? And then, hey, let's get over here and get a cup of coffee, and then let's swing over here because, we want to look at some other attraction. Well, it's going to take you a long time to figure out where your destination is. The one thing about the Tennessee Titans and Mike Vrabel, and I'll give Mike a ton of credit, they know what they are. They're going to come out there and they're going to throw haymakers at you. They're going to beat you up. And when you look at the final statistics, and I'm not a big stats guy, but Ryan Tannehill, how great is he? He had 195 yards passing. I think Derrick Henry, as physically as he is, he had 19 carries for like 60 yards at 3 yards a carry or something like that. It's not like statistically they statistically dominated a game. They just physically went out there and whooped ass. And that's who they are. And when you play them, that's what you're in for. And if you're not up for that challenge, you can't match that line of scrimmage intensity and physicality, you're going to get beat.
Especially if you lose the turnover margin like they did with those 2 turnovers. I mean, that is just very difficult to give up possessions of the ball to a team that is going to come out and swing at you. And their commitment to the run, no matter what. I mean, Derrick Henry will get a half a yard, and it's almost like they're like, yeah, that's going to happen. We don't care. Here we go. We'll do it again. If you can stop this defensive end, congrats. But we're going to be able to take advantage of whatever you're taking right now and getting worn down. It's right. A cool way to watch football. It's old school, man. It is an old school football.
There's a mentality to run the football that very few teams have. Like when I was in Denver, we always applauded the 2-yard run. We're like, as long as a 2-yard run is physical, nasty, guys are on the ground, guys have to get up. We know on 3rd down and 7, they're not going to be as good at pass rushers. And we're going to take advantage of that. And in today's game, unfortunately, that's not how guys become, that's not how offensive coordinators become head coaches, right? You're like a young, innovative offensive play caller who gets a young quarterback to play well and throw for a lot of yards. That's like Viagra to 80-year-old owners. They love that stuff, right? They cannot wait. They can't wait to hire that guy. But the bottom line is, when you look at Tennessee, man, they know what they are. They know what they want to accomplish. They want to physically wear you out. And if it's a 2-yard gain, it is like they will applaud that, because they understand over time what that does to a defense as far as wearing them out and how much less. Ryan Tannehill played clean. He didn't get hit one time. He didn't get sacked. Like, there was no pressure on him. Why? Because you are that committed. And now, if all of a sudden, as an offensive lineman, if we're throwing a 5-step drop, like an all-go pattern, right? I don't have to take a 5-step drop set. I can up-kick a guy and make it look like run, and I'm still going to win that. I'm going to win that matchup. They give their guys an opportunity to take the passive out of pass protection and take the aggression to the line of scrimmage because of the way they believe, the philosophical approach they have to the game, and it just helps you in everything that you do.
When you throw the ball 60 times a game and you got great route concepts and things got to build, that offensive lineman, probably not even in a 3-point stance ever at the tackle position in a lot of places, you're just sitting back. You're just getting beat up the entire time. You got to take it. In their offense, they're fighting the person. Those are two very different mentalities that are happening. Right. And there's not a lot of teams that are doing that. There's not a lot of teams. Baltimore's doing it.
I have the privilege of consulting for a couple of teams. It's one of the things I always talk to teams about from a play calling standpoint. Can you take the passive out of pass protection? I don't want to be passive. I want to be the aggressor.
Yeah, let me kick their ass.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
But to do that, and to be effective at that, you have to really understand how to run the ball and where to pick your spots from a pass protection standpoint. So, for instance, if I have 30 pass plays in any game, can I have a couple of bubble screens where I can come off the ball? Can I have 5 or 6 3-step drops where I can come off the ball? Can I have a couple of 5-step drops where I can still come off the ball? Can I eliminate those 30 pass pros down to about 10 where I legitimately have, a 7-step drop or a 5-step drop with a couple of hitches? I'm telling you, I know. Did you ever?
I'm telling you,
were you an old lineman back in the day?
Pretty good, dude. I used to do public pass sets. It was awesome. I used to just in the middle of the airport. Hey, what's up, Romeo? In the middle of the airport, people would just be walking by. So I'm sitting at the gate. AQ Shipley, good friend of mine, normally traveling with me, and I would just start pass protecting on random people at the airport. And he's always like, you need to be a little bit more square. I'm like, all right, let me square the hips a little bit here. Don't give him the numbers. Boom, bang, bang. I got it. I got a kick set.
I'm telling you what. I used to do fake kicking. Like, I used to pretend I was a punter.
Smart.
Because I punted in high school, and
Athlete.
I kicked off and did all that stuff. But and I used to do it at practice all the time with the kickers. But I will tell you, the whole pass pro thing, I love it. And we had a special teams player for us, a backup linebacker, sometimes starter, Glenn Cadrez, great guy, one of the funniest dudes I've ever been around. And he would do, passes because he was on Pump Pro. Yeah. And you're like the left tackle on Pump Pro, and you got to be out there doing that. And he used to call himself Special Zim. He was the Zimmerman of special teams. He was called Special Zim. Watch my set. Special Zim.
I like it. I respect it.
And that's what you reminded me right there of. Special Zim.
Well, I'll tell you what, Special Zim and I really got some things going on. Connor, what do you got?
Yeah, Mark, the Broncos are playing the Patriots on Sunday. How do you feel about their chances? And is Benny Rippon going to make it through the whole game? Because a lot of people are calling for the Blake Bortles to get some burn here.
Oh, do you guys in New England, you guys like Blake Bortles, do you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right.
As a person, have a little respect. The person is awesome.
And he's a great player, too. I like Bortles as a QB.
AFC Championship game, had to lead it to half against the New England Patriots in Foxborough.
Uh-huh.
People
I think he had like a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter or something, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah. So, no, I think people in Denver are hoping that Drew Lock is back and ready to roll.
Smart.
So we'll see if he's going to be ready. But hey, Rip showed that he can play from the pocket. He made some mistakes in that Jets game, no question about it. But he's a smart kid. as long as he's on time, he's accurate. He's a good player. There's a lot of things going on with the Broncos that I have a lot of question marks about. And if New England gets, both Cam Newton back and New England gets Stephon Gilmore back, I don't have a lot of faith that Denver can go to New England and compete. But that's why they play those games.
I don't think you guys should be worrying about who's quarterback. I don't think you guys should be worrying about Blake Bortles. I don't think you should be worrying about any of that in Denver right now. I think what you should be worrying about is your running back is out and about at 1:30 in the morning getting a DUI whenever we're in a COVID bubble season. He was running to the store? Did we hear he needed? What happened? I assume he was saving somebody who was potentially dying?
I just heard this news before I came on with you guys, and don't you have practice today? Don't you have a...
He was saving a baby, I heard. I think
wow, what a guy.
Right? He had to drive and save a baby. But that is, by the way, he's 27 years old, I believe, 27 years old. Wednesday night, starting running back for a team in a year where it has been paramount that you can't go out or you shouldn't be out and about. There has to be a story behind this, but this looks terrible. And it's not like this is coming from somebody who got arrested being out on a Tuesday night. No, great, it was a bye week, and I'm not starting running back, and you're allowed to be out and about back then. This looks very bad for the Broncos. And let's just hope, by the way, that I assume he went to jail. Let's hope he's going to have to go through the entire COVID protocol again. Happy nobody got hurt in the middle of this DUI process. We're in the middle of a time where there's ride sharing and lifting and Ubering where you don't have to do this. But this is wild. What the hell is going on in Denver, Schlaret?
Right. And by the way, he's one of the guys that complained about, their game got pushed back, so they lost their bye week. One of the guys that complained on social media about losing their bye week, I heard it explained or I heard it expressed that, man, it's like going to school all week and doing your assignments and then being told that Friday that was your bye, that was your spring break. I don't care. Grow up. I don't care. Grow up. It's a bad look. You know how difficult this time is for so many people across this country, how many people have lost loved ones, how many people have lost employment, how many people have filed for unemployment, how many people have lost businesses and homes and everything else. And you guys are worried about spring break. Where were you going to go anyhow? Apparently you're going to go wherever you were at 1:30 to get some drink on. It makes zero sense to me. It's a horrible look. Vic Fangio came out and essentially blasted. We're going to find out who the whiners and bitches are. Is what Vic Fangio said. And you know what? I think you found out some guys on your team from that standpoint are questionable at best.
Hey, wow. Hey, you were preaching there, Mark. You really were. Hey, that's a real thing. Perspective is a big deal in this world, especially whenever small things in the grand scheme of things are being acted as if they're big things. Mark, we can't thank you enough. Ladies and gentlemen, 3-time Super Bowl champ, good human, analyst for Fox Sports, Mark Schlaret. Thank you, Mark. You're awesome, Stink. He's awesome. Yeah. That Melvin Gordon thing is wild. Bro.
Yeah.
Did not expect that. Maybe like a rookie, right? Yeah. I was in my second year, I think, when it happened. Maybe somebody who's like 22, 20. He's 27 years old. There's going to come out a story, though, that something happened where he had to go run and get something for somebody. Like, there's going to be a story that comes out, I would assume. There's no way on a Wednesday in the middle of these COVID times where nothing's open. What, you think he's out at the bar?
Well, it is October, and I believe this time, that was when, what's his name? Chaz Kelly was at Von Miller's Halloween party and he woke up in someone else's house in a cowboy costume.
This Halloween party, back-to-back years here at this point, or 2 years, skip in between years, wow. This party must be just a banger, an absolute.
What are they
probably
doing?
Serving these
They riding Broncos?
Jesus, can we get cars out there? Dwight Freeney, I was at a place I didn't have a car or whatever.
Yeah,
sent me a limo, his limo, picked me up. Drove me somewhere.
Nice guy.
Dwight Freeney, good guy.
Good guy.
Now, granted, I wish I would have had a phone that wasn't broke because of alleged water damage that I could have told somebody that I was potentially stranded without a ride before I decided to try to walk home at that particular time. But nonetheless, can we get a car service for this fucking party that everybody's getting arrested on? If that's what it is. We don't know if that's what it is.
No.
We have no idea if that's what it is. But this Melvin Gordon thing looks very bad. I mean, this is especially in this year where he is the starter now, outright starter. They said co-starters. He was getting a lot of the reps anyways. But now that he is the outright starter on Wednesday, oh, man. They just beat, what, the Jets?
Mm-hmm. Huge win.
They just got their first win with the Jets, against the Jets. And I'm not saying they're going to turn it around. I mean, they left a timeout or two on the table whenever there was terrible situational awareness by the head coach early, which lost to a team that had a kicker miss 4 kicks or whatever. That it's very difficult to be a part of that organization, I'd assume, at this particular time. But you just get a win, and your starting guy is out there. And this is coming from somebody who got in trouble. It was a bye week when I got in trouble, which, by the way, I'm not saying that is any explanation. And I got arrested on Tuesday for potential being intoxicated, but I'm the punter. There probably wouldn't even punt in the next game anyways if I had to get, or only a couple of times. And it was a time whenever the COVID world wasn't completely shut down. It's like, this is just not a good look. It wasn't a good look for me, by the way. It was a terrible look for me. I legitimately felt so much embarrassment for my family, my team, and everybody like that. This is happening in the middle of a time where I didn't even know people were still going out. So he had to find a place to go. There will be a story that will come out. That something happened, he had to go pick something up.
I believe he was going 35 over too. When
he's in a hurry. I mean, he was in a hurry. He can't be doing that, by the way.
Saving a cat.
There's Ubers. There's so many things now. We read a stat the other day for the podcast, brought to you by NHTSA, NHTSA. I don't know what it stands for, but it is an organization. And they said every 50 minutes, somebody in America passes away from intoxicated driving or something like that. In 2020. That should not happen. I mean, that just no way that should happen. So I think that is maybe even the biggest part of the story is you're out whenever you're not supposed to be out, the COVID rules. You're starting running back. It's Wednesday night. You're 27 years old. Come the fuck on. And then the third thing is, why are you driving? It's 2020. There's so many other options. There's just so many layers to this where you go, what are you doing over there? What is going on?
Is there ever worry for guys like Melvin where it's I would call an Uber, but if I were to call an Uber and, he were to tell that I was drunk, maybe he'll go tell everybody or report something that, Melvin Gordon's hammered on Tuesday night getting Ubers.
Well, and these Uber drivers, they like to gossip.
They do.
They do like to gossip.
Melvin Gordon was in that Uber a couple years ago, and they were talking about him, and they didn't even know he was in his own car.
Well, look in their eyes.
I've been in some Ubers where in Indianapolis, where said Uber driver was telling a story about me.
Yeah.
That I didn't recall happening, obviously. Probably wasn't true, but there wasn't time for me to say that's not true to you. Uber drivers love good conversation.
Oh, yeah.
If we've learned anything, they love a good conversation. And boy, if you pick up Melvin Gordon and he's intoxicated at 1:30 a.m., I would assume that next Uber drive you have, last person who sat in that seat. Last person sat in front of you sitting there. The last person sat in that seat?
Yes.
Fuck, start running back for the Broncos. I'd much rather have that, though, by the way.
For sure.
Than any stupid decision of drunk driving. I mean, that's just, it's not a good time. Be Melvin Gordon right now. I've been there. He's going to be embarrassed and all that shit. He's made a lot more money and all that. And he's much more important to the Broncos and blah, blah, blah. But what happens if he picks up COVID here for this thing?
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom. Now
Takes all of us.
hey, takes all of us.
Takes all of us.
Make sure you vote.
Make sure you vote.
Vote.
You have to vote, by the way. And now that we told you to vote, that's actually the rules.
You have to go vote.
You have to vote. That's what the internet tells us. I can't fucking sit through 3 more scrolls of that. I can't do it.
Come on.
Rock the vote.
I can't do it. Zito, come on.
I know.
The people telling me to go vote, most of them, I'm like, you shouldn't even be allowed to vote. Let alone me making a decision. Nobody should be banking on, listen, I'm going to vote because it's my civic duty. It's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
You have to.
But I don't need you telling, are the last person who should be telling anybody to do
They
anything.
should get off their high horses.
Bingo.
Well
But everybody should get off their high horse to go vote, though.
Yeah.
Get off the horse. That's exactly
You know what I mean?
right.
Jump
You
on the
have
low
to
horse.
vote. If you get off the horse.
Get your ballot.
No, we don't have enough time. We'll hit that in the next hour. CBD PM, though, is awesome. From
CBDMD.
That's some good horses right there.
Hour 1 wrapping up here on this Wednesday. Big thanks to Mark Schlaret. He went after him a little bit there.
Yeah. He's not happy.
Andrew Brandt will join us in about 10 minutes. Business of Sports podcast. He'll talk about everything happening. He's executive vice president of Vayner Sports.
Ooh. Wow.
I forgot about that. Gary Vaynerchuk, his brother, has a sports agency. Executive vice president is the man that's joining us in about 9 minutes and 15 seconds. Former Packers contract guy to talk about Lev Bell, the double dipping potential, and everything else happening in the NFL. This is Wednesday, October 14th. This is Mad Dog Sports Radio. The Pat McAfee Show.
So the Saints, Bucks, and Panthers are all 3-2 in that division. Saints are minus 125 to win the division. Bucks are plus 145 to win that division. And then the Panthers are plus 600 to win that division. Who are you taking, Michael?
I'm probably going to take the Bucks, only because I trust Todd Bowles' defense more than I do Dennis Allen. I mean, Dennis did some crazy things last night. You know, if Dennis plays cover 3 and just makes this guy not get into a zero blitz game and throw the ball up the field, you know, make him work 12 plays down. I mean, at some point, but with that bad offensive line the Chargers have, it's going to break down at some point. Mm-hmm. That left tackle, they had to pinch him in the game, Tevy. I mean, they had to take him out. Herbert was getting his ass kicked. And you go zero pressure or you drop a coverage like they did late in the game for Mike Williams' touchdown, you know, it's just a killer. And so, I trust Todd Bowles. I think Todd Bowles is a really good coach. And I think Brady will get it going more offensively once he starts to get kind of what he needs. So I would take Tampa there. I don't trust New Orleans. I don't think you can dink and dunk.
Yeah, what do you mean about that when Tom gets what he needs?
Well, I think what Tom really wants is to be able to have he needs a third down back so badly. Ronald Jones is a good player. He's a really good runner. He averages 5-6 yards a catch. That's Tom needs his James White. He needs his Kevin Falk. He needs his Dion Lewis. He needs somebody to be able to throw the ball to underneath that he could get it out of his hand quickly. I think eventually he'll get that, and I think he's messaging to the players. They're listening to him. So I think he's making progress down there. It's a lot to overcome. I think he's in a strange situation.
Look, I don't understand the whole legal gambling thing. I've been gambling illegally my whole life. I don't get what you mean by FanDuel Sportsbook. Dude, illegal gambling is done. It stinks. Legal gambling is the greatest thing of all time. FanDuel Sportsbook has so many good bets. They even refund bets that they think didn't deserve to lose. They got all the spreads. They got same game parlays. You have to start gambling on FanDuel Sportsbook if you're in a legal state. And that's not the only thing. They make it so easy to withdraw and deposit money. You can just link your bank, deposit whatever you want, withdraw whatever you want, whenever you want.
Yes,
I mean, this
please.
truly is the greatest sports gambling app out there.
He's right about the banking. It is the greatest, but you really don't understand the bets that this sports book has. They have in-game bets. They have in-game parlays, and he said it, but I'm going to say it again. The odds at this place are the best, and once you download FanDuel Sportsbook, we are going to take all of their money. All of their money. Right? 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 FanDuel! 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 FanDuel!
Are you on the committee?
Yep.
No, you're not.
Oh, no.
And like the thing is, like,
You did not deserve that.
if you look at Pat's back pocket right now, it actually is embroidered.
Yeah, Foxy, you sound like a broken record, pal. You've said that 100 fucking times. Own up to your mistakes and get back in the game. You're my favorite player, and I'm fucking sick of it.
Don't talk to me about you, Ball.
Since you just got murdered.
Foxy, you're not only Ty's favorite player, you're also Zito's favorite player.
That's just not true.
I've been stressing this whole time because of you.
We just
The Pat McAfee Show.
There'll be no rules for our guests, for us, for the things we can talk about.
Speaking his mind
I've never had a problem expressing my opinions or my thoughts or anything like that.
while being relatable.
I haven't had that manufactured fake-ass celebrity that a lot of people have whenever they go on those big networks. I've had a chance to really build my crew, build my following, build my audience.
And ridiculous.
What am I supposed to do? So I'm supposed to look at something that I can definitely afford and say, nah. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
The Pat McAfee Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Good afternoon, beautiful people. It is Wednesday, October 14th, 2020. Hour 2 begins right meow. Before we get to our incredible guest, Andrew Brandt, who has a big business brain, he is the host of the Business of Sports podcast, executive vice president of Vayner Sports. I want to talk to you about how everyone always talks about how important it is to get a good night's rest, don't they?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Following that advice can be damn difficult. That's why the folks at CBDMD created CBD PM to help you get the rest you deserve and feel your best every single morning. CBD PM blends 500 milligrams of superior CBD with sleep-promoting ingredients like melatonin. Ever heard of it?
Yeah.
Valerian root. Ever heard of it? And chamomile to create a powerful and effective sleep aid. So whether you're up late with the kids or pets or existential dread, you can turn to CBD PM and get the rest you need to handle anything that comes your way. I use it every night. It puts me out like a light.
Like a light.
Like a light.
Out like a light.
Like a light. And to make it even easier to try... CBD PM or any of CBDMD's premium CBD oil products. They're offering listeners of this show and watchers of this show 25% off their next order whenever you use promo code McAfee at checkout at CBDMD.com. That's promo code McAfee for 25% off. Joining us now, host of the Business of Sports podcast, executive vice president of Vayner Sports, which is an agency. Ladies and gentlemen, Andrew Brandt.
Hey, Pat, I haven't been on in a while. You've been cheating on me with the other Packer guy you got, that Rodgers guy. Seems to come on a lot. You know, I guess you got all the Packers stuff you need. You don't need me. Huh?
Andrew, the text or the message you sent me about how Aaron Rodgers is the best and you enjoy the segments or whatever, it feels like with Aaron, people are including me, right? The first time I met him, I was like, man, I know nothing about this guy. And I got along with I liked him a lot. And I'm like, this guy's been in the NFL for over a decade. Nobody knows anything about him. These conversations, people getting a chance to like see the human he is, aside from being the most talented quarterback, the most talented quarterback to ever play the game. It has been a lot of fun to chat with him. And you saw him, day one, you had to work some business with him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm biased. I mean, he's the best. And I said that to you because I think, you know, when I listen to athletes, nothing against athletes in general, but not a lot of them express a lot of thoughtfulness, introspection, insight into how people are feeling. And when I talked to Aaron, when I saw him at camp a couple of years ago, he said, listen, Andrew, I get it. I understand that I'm a voice, not only for this team, for the state, for the region, Packer Nation, and I want to be thoughtful, but I understand my role. He's so candid. He's so honest. And as you guys are seeing every week, he really seems in a good place, not only on the field, but off the field this year. It's great to see, as someone who's known him, again, from the first day he came in. I saw that wry sense of humor. I saw that California cool he's got. You know, we put him in a room with Southern Mississippi Brett Favre. That was a little bit of oil and water right away, but those guys started getting along. It was nice to see.
Yeah, they're good friends now, which has been awesome to kind of watch them interact because of all the stories you've heard. But listening to him talk and then people talk about him now that maybe they shared stories earlier, but they were never talked about because everything that gets talked about with Aaron, for whatever reason, I think because of how damn talented he is, every story is like a TMZ type story, and then that infiltrates into everything else. And he never answered any of those stories. Like he told us kill him with indifference. Kill him with indifference. So all these stories would come out that probably weren't true, or at least there was a little bit of truth, but mostly fabricated. And he wouldn't even just address me. He's like, I'm not even going to give it attention. I'm just going to kill it with indifference. And I'm sitting here as somebody that's never met him and not been on a team, and I wanted to tell him yeah, but you should answer some of them. Some of these you should say no, that's not true or whatever. But he's been able to handle this, and he seems like he's only getting better at football somehow. And it's been a treat to listen to him talk. I feel very lucky that we get a chance to do it. And I don't talk to him much outside of just the recorded conversation we have every week. it's been really cool to learn about like this dude who is at the top of the world at what he does and how he is because it's much different than what a lot of other people are who are in the exact same position.
Yeah, and you got AJ there too. And,
Oh, yeah.
and listen, we picked AJ number 1 in 2005, and we picked Aaron number 1 in 2006, or maybe it was vice versa. But having AJ there, it just brings out a comfort level with him. And listen, Pat, when this dude came in, we drafted him. I called him. The poor guy was waiting there forever. After 5 hours, the caterers moved all the tables. He was alone in that green room. And when I called him that draft day, my instructions from Ted Thompson were get him on the phone and don't say anything. So the poor kid had waited 6 hours, and I call and I say, because I want to talk to Mike, his agent, I call and say, Mike? He says, no, it's Aaron. I'm like, oh, shit. Like, can I talk to Mike? And he puts Mike on, and Mike's like, are you taking him? Are you taking him? Are you taking him? And I just like, hold on, because we wanted to see if the phone would ring, if we get offers, we get 2 number 2s, we get a 1 and a 2. We don't. And that phone never rang. And I think about, when I watch his greatness, I think about, man, how the NFL and the Packers and the whole world could look so much different if that phone rang and we got an offer we couldn't refuse. But nobody called. Nobody called. And we took them. And we had a Lambeau Field party, 1,000 people under our draft room. Boo! We had everyone booing. Brett's agent calls me. Brett calls the coach. No one's happy. I'm sure Aaron's not happy going to a place that's cold and he's never going to play. But, it's nice to look back and see that work out.
Well, and Brett Favre was in the middle of that Iron Man run, too, where he hadn't missed a single play for 45 years or something like that. It's like, oh, great. Can't wait to just go to a place that seems like the backup gets a lot of action. But he talked about it, how for years he sat there, right? And then one particular night against Dallas Cowboys, he jogs on the field, and Scott Stapp and Creed just fucking rocked it at halftime.
Yep.
He said that was the night that changed everything, where he went from potential draft bust and guy never really got a shot to, hey, this dude's going to be really good. And here we are, 13 years later, and it's the Aaron Rodgers show right now. But let's start.
Pat, the last thing before we get to other topics, we had the first minicamp practice. First days on the field, coming out of Cal. And, Ted Thompson, our GM, never showed an inch of emotion the whole time I was with him. But Aaron takes the ball, rolls right on movement, throws it 65 yards downfield in stride to Donald Driver, first practice. And Ted and I locked eyes. I never saw emotion from Ted Thompson. He looked at me with that look like, all right, we got him. We are set for the future. We got the guy. And that's no better feeling in pro sports from a management point of view is when you got the guy, number one, and the guy is not only your best player, but one of, if not your best person. And that's why the Packers are gold, why the Texans are gold with Deshaun Watson. When you got the guy who's your best player and your best person, you're gold.
All right,
From a front office point of view, that's the best feeling you can have.
And you were vice president of finance, I believe, for the Packers. What was your exact title for the Packers?
I was vice president, period, of the Packers. I handled all the player contracts and dealt with Aaron's agent doing that contract where, everyone's asking, the whole negotiation. How do we do a negotiation for a guy we never know when is going to play? And that was a hard negotiation.
Okay, so let's talk about the Texans you just talked about with Deshaun Watson. They fired the guy who I think was also vice president of the Texans, lead counsel of the Texans, general manager of the Texans, head coach of the Texans, player caller for the Texans after a player revolt that is alleged to have happened that J.J. Watt and defense coordinator said, we're sick of your shit, basically. He's out now. You said they're gold with Deshaun Watson because their best player is their best guy. They got J.J. Watt there as well, also I think notoriously known as a good guy. You think that team's in a good spot, but they have to fill a lot of positions. Was Bill O'Brien killing them? Or what are your thoughts on that entire situation?
Yeah, 3 bad moves. I just jump out right away, trading for Laramie Tunsil for 2 number 1s and then not even doing a contract. So Tunsil gets all the leverage, does this incredible deal afterwards, trading DeAndre Hopkins for inferior value and trading Clowney for inferior value and paying him $7 million to go away and play for the Seattle Seahawks. Listen, he's in a no-win situation. A coach has to inspire, motivate, worry about the present right now. A general manager has to be detached, unemotional, worry about the future. And he's trying to be the same person. As Aaron knows, when I was there, Ron Wolf retired. Our coach, Mike Sherman, became coach and general manager. Again, he looks at me, he goes, Andrew, listen, I'm going to make you the bad guy here. And I'm like, Mike, I get it. I totally get it. You've got to get players to run through a brick wall for you. You can't be holding the purse strings. So I ran that role. In Philadelphia, Andy Reid, for so many years, he had Joe Banner run that role. But O'Brien was his own bad guy. And I heard from agents and people like he graded on players. That's a problem. So I don't think the coach general manager model works. One guy can do it, Belichick, because he's very unemotional and very detached. But beyond that, it never works. And Bill O'Brien was put in a position to fail, and they failed.
All right, let's talk another big business decision. Bill O'Brien, all the arrows and roads led to him, by the way, for the firing. So he ran out of people to blame, which is, I would assume in that particular business, something you need to have is people to blame things on. Dan Quinn just did that last year. He fired every assistant coach that he had, built up a whole new thing. He's out with Dimitroff. Who knows what the future is with Atlanta? But the hot story today is Le'Veon Bell gets cut last night, just hours after it is announced that they're trying to trade him. You initially, upon hearing about them trying to trade, said good luck was your actual word. Good luck trading Le'Veon Bell with whatever his contract was and his performance this year, and nobody's going to want to give anything up. They cut him later. And I might be wrong in this, and I've been saying it very loudly, so if I'm wrong, I would like you to educate me. He can double dip right in this particular situation where he gets contract from the Jets that he is owed, and then he can go to another team and get another contract somewhere else, a la what Leonard Fournette did this year with the Jaguars and the Buccaneers, or am I wrong in saying that?
I think you're wrong, Pat.
Damn it! I was very loud in saying that.
A little bit of contract 101. This is an offset guarantee. So he's owed $6 million this year, or whatever the remaining balance is. He goes to another team and say makes $1 million. That goes against the $6 million owed by the Jets. So it's called an offset guarantee. So he'll get the money. And if he doesn't play, it's all from the Jets. If he does play, some of it's from the Jets and some of it's offset by what he makes from the new team.
Okay.
So we'll see. I mean, like you said, he could sit back and collect the $6 million and not play for anyone. He could play for someone, get whatever. Say they pay $2 million, then the Jets owe $4 million, and then he's got an injury guarantee next year, which is going to be hard unless he gets hurt badly to collect on that. But $28 million for a year and a few games with the Jets. So the Jets continue to compound bad decisions with bad contracts.
Just such a matter-of-fact statement. Just such a matter-of-fact statement. Is this them saying that they're going with Adam Gase long-term? Because the origin of this publicly is Le'Veon Bell liked a couple tweets, right, that said that Adam Gase was a stooge, basically. And he's not the only one liking tweets that are saying that. Everybody outside the building is. But if you go back to Jamal Adams, he came out and basically said he hated the place and wanted to leave, wasn't inspired. Boom, he's gone. Now Le'Veon Bell likes a couple tweets that say he's not being used right in Adam Gase's offense. He's gone. Is this the Jets saying we're investing in Adam Gase more so than Le'Veon Bell? Or do you think they were going to unload Le'Veon Bell at the end of the season anyways? Let's go ahead and do this now and kind of save the drama between Gase and Le'Veon Bell for the day-to-day until we eventually get rid of Adam Gase as well.
Well, different general manager, and as you noted, once that got out, they're trying to trade him. There's no way they're going to trade him. Everybody's going to say, well, wait till you cut him because you're not going to keep him. And, Joe Douglas has no investment in Le'Veon Bell. That was the previous general manager, McCagnon, who, again, paid him big money, paid C.J. Mosley big money, paid all these guys big money, and then is shipped out. So there doesn't seem to be symbiosis between the GM and the coach. Symbiosis. So I don't know if Adam Gase is long for the future. But hey, Pat, don't blame me because the Jets called me a year and a half ago, and I gave a glowing recommendation to the guy named Mike McCarthy. You should hire him. And a day later, they hired Adam Gase. And I said, listen, what did I just tell you about 2 hours with Mike McCarthy? What happened? They said, well, we talked to Peyton Manning about Adam Gase, and no offense, but Peyton Manning's more important than Andrew Brandt. I'm like, all right, I get it. I said McCarthy.
Jets fans do hate Peyton Manning, I've learned, because I put out a tweet about Peyton Manning, and all Jets fans basically said was, yeah, well, he should just keep his mouth shut and not talk about who should get hired where, because it's amazing that Adam Gase has gotten 2 opportunities that people would die for to get in the Dolphins and in the Jets, and they both seem to be going the exact same way. Le'Veon Bell, I would assume when he signs with the next team, since it's an offset guarantee, they're going to sign him for a vet min and let the Jets pick up the tab for everything else, and Le'Veon Bell probably at this point is completely okay with that. I assume he's going to go to a winning team because I think he saw what life was like on a terrible team. So I'm intrigued by that. Let's move now to our final question for you, and it's a big one, and Diggs just reminded me of it, and when you said Mike McCarthy, it made me think of it. Dak Prescott gets franchise tag. 2 years straight, they said he needs to get a long-term deal. He becomes almost a free agent. He gets franchise tagged. They offer him a 5-year deal. He wants a 4-year deal. Now here we are, week 5, and one of the most gruesome injuries we've ever seen. Now, I know that he'll be able to get back to full go. Rehab is going to be strenuous and terrible. But the big question now is, what is the future for the Cowboys? What is the future for Dak Prescott? Do those coincide with each other, and how much money is going to be involved? This is something where the business of the NFL, which you know a lot about, you're the bad guy, you even said in a lot of situations, can rear its ugly head into things and make it not as kosher or kumbaya as everybody would like it to be. Do you see that potentially happening with Dak and the Cowboys, or do you think Jerry is in a position, Stephen Jones is in a position, where because of how serious the injury was, how much he's outplayed every contract they gave him, that they're going to have to pay him long term?
Yeah, I think they will, and I'm going to push back against the narrative that somehow Dak hurt his financial future, with the big assumption this is not career-ending, which I think everyone agrees, this injury, and it was a sad, gruesome injury. That moment of him crying is going to be one of the moments of this year. I think that's a big moment. So, listen, I think Dak Prescott will be in the same position in February that he was last February, where the Cowboys have 3 options. Pay him a contract that Dak will agree to, which hasn't happened. Pay him a franchise tag, which will be $37 million next year, combined with $31 this year, give him $68 million over 2, or set him free to a market where, no matter how bad the injury, I think, Pat, he'll get a huge contract, because you never see a player like Dak Prescott hit the market. The closest we've seen is like Kirk Cousins or Peyton Manning coming off 3 neck surgeries. This guy will get paid. So, at worst, in my opinion, he's going to make $68 or $69 million over 2 years. Let's compare that to Mahomes, and I know I've talked about that deal, $63 million over 3 years. So Dak will be fine. The question I don't know is what they were talking about last year in terms of money, why Dak didn't take it. Jerry's going to have to be above that, no matter what, because by that time we may see a Lamar Jackson, we may see someone else set a new market, and then Dak will have to respond to that. Last thing is, we saw Jerry and Stephen Jones on record saying, basically, in so many words, they're going to take care of Dak. I know players are watching, especially on the Cowboys and other teams, to make sure they take care of this guy. I'm bullish on his future still.
Okay, we like to hear that.
right.
I'm sure Dak does as well. So do Cowboys fans. Every time you speak, I feel like I learned something. Thanks for educating us today. Ladies and gentlemen, the host of the Business of Sports podcast, former vice president of the Packers and executive vice president of Vayner Sports, ladies and gentlemen, Andrew Brandt.
Andrew Brandt.
Thank you, Andrew.
Good to be back with you guys.
Oh, great to have you. Offset guarantees. Offset guarantees. That's big news. So the next team's going to pay him $800,000 for this season.
Yep.
And $5.2 million will come from the New York Jets. And Le'Veon Bell will be like, yeah, I'm cool with that. Them, yeah, fuck them.
And we're going to win?
Just about to say the same exact thing. Fuck those guys. Give me what the littlest you can.
Yeah, all right, let's get to a phone call here before we get to a break. 20 minutes into hour 2 here. Let's go to Nate in Syracuse. What's going on, Nate?
Pat, boys, longtime fan, first time calling. Love the show.
Nate, thanks for calling. We love you as well.
Yep.
What do you want to talk about, brother?
All right, my question. Did we hype Josh Allen too soon?
No.
I mean, as a lifelong fan.
No.
Shut your mouth.
No.
You shut your fucking mouth.
No, Nate. Nate, I'm not going to take it, Nate. No, you don't do that.
Nate.
God damn it.
Come on, Nate.
Nate.
Let's go to Brett in Buffalo. Brett, what's going on?
You better not do it, too.
What's going on, fellas? Happy overreaction Wednesday, as we just heard from Nate over there in Syracuse.
You did? What do you want to talk about, Brett?
I do want to note. I do want to come to my Bills' defense. Can we just, cut the Bills a little slack, because they had no idea who they'd be playing this week. They had to prepare for 2 teams, and they're 2 absolute thunderclappers in the Titans and the Chiefs?
Great question. Those are two very different offenses. And if you go off of what Mark Schlaret said as well, which I didn't know, the NFL and the league was in contact with the Tennessee Titans every single day since the beginning of the COVID outbreak. Can't be in your facility. You can do this. Your game's going to be this. You're going to be this. If they weren't doing the exact same thing for the Buffalo Bills, whose game was moved a couple different times, and they didn't even know they were doing this or whatever, maybe there is quite an advantage to the Tennessee Titans getting a chance to know what they're doing, and the Bills just kind of being like, do we do this? Do we do this? Who are we playing? We don't. Maybe that is a little bit more mental fuckery than we could have fathomed going into the night. And maybe this is just hindsight results-oriented thought, but it does feel like the teams that have gotten screwed in this entire operation are the Patriots, who had to travel day of. Okay, day of, they had to travel. They lose their quarterback in. That sucks. Steelers did nothing wrong. They have a bye week 4 instead of week 8. They had to practice all week for the Titans. Titans have an outbreak. Sucks for them. Last night, it felt like nobody really, they did Tuesday Night Football. Everybody's happy. Here we go. We're getting back on schedule. But then if you think about it from the Bills side, and I assume that if the Bills do feel that they got kind of screwed in this whole thing with communication, whatever, that message will leak out somewhere. I don't think Sean McDermott will be the guy to say, but somebody will say, well, it would have been nice to potentially know that we're going to blah, 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 and we're going to blah, blah, blah. And now we have an even shorter week than most people have because of this. Like, I assume that there might be some lingerings, but I assume Sean McDermott also, like, no excuses. We do not care, because if our sources are correct, in July, the NFL told all the teams that we do not care about your bitching about whatever happens with the schedule situation.
And Tuesday Night Football was fun, but Sunday seems like a very far way away now. Like, no Thursday Night Football
stinks.
Yeah, I'm kind of bummed about it.
Kind of bummed. I'm very bummed.
Yeah, I mean, Tuesday, you had to fill the feeling that you had for Thursday night for Tuesday night.
Yeah.
And it's just not the same because Monday we already celebrated.
Sunday,
and we had a great game on Monday.
And
too.
Sunday was, packed to the gills. So you just kind of add it to the end. It's like whenever you're going on a run and you have like a long weekend, and then it gets to Sunday and you get Sunday scares and you just add Monday onto it. It's like, okay, so is Monday really as good as it would have been if we come back on Sunday night and then we go again on Thursday? Thursday's probably going to be a little bit better than the added Monday because we get some downtime in between to either rest up and get ready for another go or potentially miss the go and re-go again. So there's a couple different things that could potentially play in there.
I tell you what, that 7 p.m. start, though, was nice.
I did like 7 p.m. start. It was good. Left Coast probably hated it. I mean, 4 o'clock, you guys are watching games. But that thing ending at 10 and not being able to watch the end of the game and not feel as if, my tomorrow morning's completely fucked. It was very, 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 very nice. All right, we have to get to a break. We'll do some more phone calls on the other side. 1-888 Mad Dog 6. That is 1-888 Mad Dog 6. We are, I think, 5 weeks into this thing, and they're still barking, which I think has been a mind blower to everybody involved. This office will run through things quickly. This office will wear things to death. Even the greatest of ideas get ruined in this office because of an overplay situation.
It happens.
The barking here on Mad Dog Sports Radio has somehow survived now much longer than any of us could have thought. And if you're listening and you have Romeo in the back like Mark Schlaret or your dogs and my dogs at home, so I assume your dogs are the same exact way, when those barks happen, it does become quite a pain in the ass at the house, I assume.
Yeah.
Still has juice.
It's for the dogs. It's for the dogs.
We are a sports show, both for humans and for canines.
Pretty cool.
And I would like to be said that Connor's bark is a dumb bark, just like his human words are as well.
Yeah, but the dogs, they like it. It answers the call.
I don't know if they like it, by the way. I think some dogs hear it and they attack.
That's what I'm saying.
Like humans do when he talks.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Bingo. You're consistent amongst different animals and creatures. That's good.
I'll argue with humans. I'll argue with dogs, too. Shit, if you got a cat, I'll meow at that thing, too.
Don't do it.
Don't do that.
Do not do it. And if you run into a mountain lion, you fucking backpedal and you throw a rock as quick as possible. That video of that 6-minute mountain lion coming down as if he's a play toy that he was about to smack around on the internet. Those are in America.
Yeah. That's when you got to get the meows out.
Hey, I'm from Pittsburgh. Okay. Went to West Virginia, stayed in Morgantown, then came over to Indianapolis. There ain't no fucking lions around. The only lion that happened in Morgantown was when the circus came to town.
Ooh.
And I got an email that said an African lion escaped this weekend. Heads up. Heads up. Huh?
Find it. Swivel, pal.
Fucking Mustafa's out running around. And I get a heads up.
You kidding me?
That's the only thing I've ever. That I did not know mountain lions were like that. That thing is a.
Neither did I.
That is a Animal Planet. That is an animal predator.
That thing's a killer.
That is an alpha.
In America.
Do not go near.
Did not know that.
Guys, what did you think mountain lions were like?
I thought they were just little fucking kittens I could kick in the head if I had to.
The one in
What's
Homeward.
going on, dude? Get
They
the
live in the
fuck-
mountains.
Get the fuck out.
Yeah. The one in Homeward Bound was not like that, I don't think.
Yeah, I live in the mountains. I thought they maybe didn't have much to eat up there. Squirrels, raccoons, things of that nature. I thought it was coyote, fox like.
Exactly. That's
I didn't
how
know we
gritty.
had a. I didn't know we had a goddamn jaguar.
It's a panther.
It's a gritty lion. It's the grittiest of all lions.
That thing was about 14 feet, tail to nose.
And its paw, it was skipping on its back.
Oh, he's just baiting him. What?
30 miles an hour. I would like the American lion to get talked about a little bit more.
Yes.
One time.
Do we know, did that guy survive or did that thing eventually kill him?
They said he made a loud noise or something, and I guess what had happened was, you see, it walked by the cubs,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
didn't even know it went by the den. And whether that's mom or dad, I would assume mom, because mom seems to be in the animal kingdom, the one that will get your ass if you're near the babies.
Lioness.
I assume that thing, like in Avatar, when Jacob Sully's walking and the lion's just kind of creeping in the back and you see its eyes, I would assume that's how it started. When it walked by the den and the lion was like, oh, this motherfucker.
You know who lives here?
Is that right? Go up on a hill a little bit, and that person just like, da, da, da,
Oh, this is
hiking in the
cool.
middle of the woods, nothing to see here. And then all of a sudden, just like hop down as if it's the Lion King when old son of a bitch was in the shadow area that he just shouldn't have went to. Terrible kid, Simba. Terrible.
Terrible.
Don't go over there. We will be able to reign over this forever. Just don't go there. Son of a bitch goes over there. I assume that's what that lion did to that guy. And then what? That guy just has to backpedal for 6 minutes? Whoa. And then, by the way, while he's backpedaling, probably goes past the Cubs again.
Oh, no.
So now we're re-pissed off.
That's
Double
when
down.
That's probably when it. By the way, top speed is 40 to 50 miles.
And if my research tells me accurately about African lions that I did that night or that morning I was told that an African lion escaped in Morgantown, it's similar to that. Is the American lion a superior lion to the king of the fucking jungle?
Also 50 mile an hour.
Yeah, exactly.
Jeez. Wow.
By the way, I did the research because I had a scooter in college.
How fast does this thing go?
Scooter went 35 miles an hour. But said lion that was in Morgantown, it wasn't like an African lion. Like it wasn't out there hunting. This was a circus lion.
Domesticated.
Yeah, domesticated. So definitely faster than a Caucasian lion, if I had to guess. But I don't think as fast as Jungle Cat. So I docked 10 miles an hour. It's going to be a close race between me and that scooter. Me and that lion, I think.
Would have been hilarious.
I think I would have got it, though. That thing had a remote start. I mean, it had some zooms. Catch me downhill, too.
It's like Kid from Knight Rider.
Anyways, the American lion deserves more respect. I think that's what we're trying to get at.
Yeah.
30 minutes into the show. This is a sports show. The Pat McAfee Show, Wednesday, October 14th, 2020.
He's saying don't go off the top, it's too shallow.
See that Bill Booker?
All you're going to hear this stadium do is they put the big paw up, they start shaking it, they go, whoa. Hey, look, things are going good, Yeah, he loves the defensive side of the ball. He said yesterday to me that this is a blue-collar team. They win it on special teams. They have 5 block kicks this season. The defensive side of the ball, Lynch leads the Big 12 in sacks. But also on the offensive side, Denzel Mims is an absolute animal. He is a weapon. Charlie Brewer, the quarterback from Lake Travis. His dad was a quarterback in Texas. Yeah. His grandpa was a quarterback in Texas. And the people here in Waco just so happen to get a chance to see Charlie Brewer on a daily basis. Hey. Yeah, Boomer here is going to mean a little bit different than what it means on the internet currently. And hopefully here in Baylor, they hope they're not hearing a lot of Boomer Everybody wants to be a punter, including quarterbacks. If I was a quarterback, I'd want to be a punter as well. 0 yards on that punt. That's an embarrassing situation. The Dak dance that gets on national television has led to a lot of losses, but you got to respect the hips being able
What sign am I going to make for college game day? Well, I want to make something creative. I want to make something fun. No, to hell with it. I don't like OU. It's so thick. Look how thick that thing is. That's years and years of patience. 19. You're headed right for the boat. Right now? For the boat. Okay, let's do it.
We are out here on the Brazos River, which you can take a boat to the game. One of the only stadiums in the country that you can do that. It's beautiful out here. A lot of people would say, this is the last time I'm going to be on game day. The last time I allegedly did what I'm about to do, I ended up in a jail cell. Let's go! Bad decision. The blue kicker's getting way down here. A lot higher than I thought.
You look like Ric Flair.
That was a sellout, by the way. That was beautiful.
Do we have any other shirts?
Yeah, hold on. You need to go get changed before you get sick.
Great work, Russia. I'm actually not that cold. Hey, I went for it. My chest hurts. It was like 5 feet. I was standing there. That's full commitment, by the way.
This is the Pat McAfee Show on Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82.
That was an enthusiastic go there.
Oh, yeah.
I like that. This is Sean.
Yeah.
That boy, Sean.
Look, I just want to make a living. I just want to do it right. I'm just trying to take what isn't given past the oversight. I'm just trying to make it killing. Didn't happen overnight. They talk about my name so much they start to get over. I gotta ask you, what's your motivation?
Wow. Who's this again? Colin something?
Colin Henry.
Colin Henry with a banger here.
King Henry.
We appreciate this, Colin.
This is something you can find within your soul. I gotta ask you, what's your motivation? Is it music? Is it love? Maybe not.
Are we sure it's not NF?
It does sound a lot like NF.
Yeah.
MGK.
This is a banger here. To be honest, I'm not 100% sure, Colin, but I'm just going to keep it going, all right? Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. Stop asking me so many questions, Colin. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. It is Wednesday, October 14th. Update, I guess, from Mountain Lion Kid with said Mountain Lion, American Lion over there in Provo, Utah. He told TMZ he would go right back to the same trail and hike. He was scared of
Bet you he's got his gun this time.
Yeah,
Joker.
Okay. Yeah, he did ask a couple times in said video for his gun. He wish he had his gun. I would assume he won't make that mistake again. I would also say maybe go to a new trail because you do know that that particular trail has a den of little American lions in there. And I think the thought should maybe head out
You think
somewhere
he's going in there with mountain lions come out to play?
If I was him, I'd
Warriors.
have a laser pointer. You knew I wasn't going to get that right.
I know.
There was no chance of me getting that. But you get a laser pointer out of there, you could potentially get it. We are a sports show. Let's hit this sidebar real quick. I think the Mike Thomas drama down in New Orleans. I kind of wanted to wait to talk about this with AJ Hawk, but since I just mentioned it, everybody knows how this is going to work. I'm going to talk about it. It's very interesting because it came out that he got into a fight with CGJ. CGJ.
Gardner Johnson Webb.
There it is.
Something. Gardner Johnson.
Chauncey Gardner-Johnson.
Chauncey.
You mixed the college
CGJ.
and
Yeah, it's all right. So CGJ is a member of the secondary for New Orleans, and it came out that in practice, he and Michael Thomas got into it. A fight happened. Blows were thrown. And all of a sudden, the next thing we heard was Michael Thomas was suspended for the Monday Night Football game. It wasn't that it was his injury to his ankle, which he was out for the week or previous weeks before that. This was because of personal conduct. This is because of what he did in practice. And I raised quite a question of if one fight with a corner, and no offense to CGJ, very important part of the team, by the way, we have learned since then. But no offense to CGJ, if your star wide receiver, man who's all pro, young guy, he's very, 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 very good, a pivotal part of your offense, gets into it in practice with somebody, A, happens all the time. B, the last thought you would think is this guy cares so much in practice that his emotions are running so high that he's actually fighting people. We should suspend him coming off of an injury. Like, I just didn't think that was going to be the case. Just as somebody who is, I think I've witnessed a lot of practices. I've seen a lot of things that don't get talked about. For a scuffle to happen, even if there's a punch thrown, by the way, I thought there had to be a chance that he broke his hand and they were trying to cover up for him. Like, oh, it's just a personal conduct thing or whatever. And they didn't want to come out and say that he had a broken hand. Turns out that was not the case. Sean Payton was asked about it on the Monday Night Football Countdown show on ESPN. And he said he's disrespected to the coaches and all this stuff. So Michael Thomas gets in this fight with this guy. If we are to assume what allegedly happened, he gets into a fight with CGJ. Okay, they get into it, words exchange or whatever. Then is it Sean Payton or is it another coach that pulls Michael Thomas out of there? And Michael Thomas looks at him and goes, what? Oh, get the fuck off of me. Yeah. You think that's what happened? If Michael Thomas does that to Sean Payton, I would assume that would then make Sean Payton go, who are you talking to? And then potentially suspend him just out of spite, right? Just out of spite because you don't talk to me like that. Or did Michael Thomas potentially dig a little bit deeper with certain things that are happening on the offense this year as opposed to in year past? I mean, now that we know that there was an altercation between Michael Thomas and the coaching staff, it's like, I want to know I would like to know what happened, just because we heard about J.J. Watt and Bill O'Brien. And as soon as we heard about that news of them getting into it on the field, the only thing you heard me say was, oh, I just wish I was there. Just because you got so many personalities, so much money, so much success, and so many alphas talking to each other. Oh, it's awesome. It is absolutely. Normally, you try to get everybody on the same page. So whenever you see there's a potential disagreement between two big names, it is must see. Like, this is like, okay, I'm here for this. Let me go ahead and grab some popcorn. I will grab said tea. I will drink it down, and I will observe what happens here. With Michael Thomas with the Saints, I'm intrigued to hear what happened, how it happened, and how they get past this, especially with the tweets that he's putting out, where it's basically like, oh, I'm the bad guy? Okay, bet, basically. He's like, oh, I'm the bad guy now. So now these stories that are coming out is I'm a bad guy. And then he says, think what you want. I ain't trying to clear no rumors up. Okay? So he's like, I'm not answering about what you guys are thinking, but going, think whatever you got. And they say, you ain't a snake, but they will make you. Okay, so this is him saying, this wasn't on me, by the way. This is Michael Thomas subtly subtweeting to everybody that's talking about situation between coaches and Michael Thomas, saying, hey, this ain't me. This is on the other side if you want to ask a question. So he did answer what happened, and he did clear up some rumors, just without saying he's clearing up any rumors.
Can we assume that things are much worse in New Orleans than they're putting on? Because we haven't really heard any previous issues with him from practice or anything. So I don't know if they're trying to cover up for him. But he broke the NFL receptions record last year.
Yeah. Guys,
it seems
unbelievable.
Like a short leash for a guy like that.
It does. And why is a guy who did break the receptions record upset with the New Orleans Saints? And then more people started to think, Mike Florio of Pro Football Talk, who does deep diving into language and contracts and everything like that because he's a former lawyer, he basically mentioned in this article that this suspension that they can put down as either conduct detrimental to the team or a violation of something, which in every single contract, teams have outs on guarantees, and they have language in there that's like, if players suspended for violation of team rules or conduct detrimental to the team, then all guarantees are potentially void. And I guess next year there's like a $12.6 million in 2021 guaranteed, and in 2022, $15.35 million guaranteed. And if the NFL, which has, contracts that are designed away for a reason, and they become something where the Saints say, we don't have to pay him any of that. Do you remember when we suspended him because the violation of player or team rules, conduct detrimental to the team? Right here, this voids all the guarantees. That would make a lot more sense if they were looking to potentially part ways and not be on the hook for any cash with Michael Thomas, whether it is personal reasons, which it seems like it would have to be because of how good he is as a football player. This is the way you offset any guarantees that you have if you're a team. It's dirty. It is dirty business. This is what the NFL is. That's why I've been so intrigued to see what happens with Dak and the Cowboys, because business in the NFL, I've been on inside of it, and now that we've seen it from outside, it is something where it is very stringent. They are not scared to pull the rug out from underneath you if it's going to benefit them financially, especially if they want to go in a different direction. It feels like that's probably why they made the move made the move that they did. Shout out to Mike Florio for digging into that and finding that, but that's 100% real. Like, there is a chance that that's why this is happening, and this does not end well, I don't think, unless Michael Thomas has to go back and go like, okay, I know that you're trying to screw me in the future here. I don't like the way you guys are talking to me, and I'll just give in because of whatever. Or do you think Michael Thomas, who is a human who has emotions, is potentially going to hold a grudge for a little bit, and who knows how this is going to play out?
Well, and does Sean Payton think that it's his system? Because, I mean, Emmanuel Sanders went in there all alone, and he had 12 catches for 120 yards. So Sean Payton might be thinking, why are we paying this guy all this money if we got Emmanuel Sanders who can do exactly the same thing?
It's very interesting. What's that, Tiggs?
Yeah, it's wild. Like, does the organization 1 year into the 5-year, $100 million contract they give him, like, oh, shit, maybe...
Oh, you're talking buyer's remorse.
Maybe,
Yeah,
maybe we need a way out of this.
You're talking about like potentially you and Billy.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Buyer's remorse.
Oh, no.
Jesus. No.
That's what you're talking about.
What are you talking about?
Well, I'm talking about you and Billy.
Oh, man.
Billy Tubes here, not Billy O'Brien. Billy Tubes, the guy that runs our YouTube.
Well,
he's literally coding right now.
Yeah, what's going on?
The internet. Billy Tubes and Diggs actually just put a bid in on the same house.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, my God.
Whose house? Just hours apart, too. It was like
Are you
one got
kidding?
put in and then another one. So now they are potentially battling. And this is like classic auction. If you're a good friend, you'll stand behind your one friend that wants an item at an auction, and you'll bid him up, okay? Just say, just not too much. Right? You don't want to. This is a potential buyer's remorse situation because they're going to run each other up the pole here, and then somebody's going to have to give them a lot of money, and then they'll be like, wait, was this worth this? And that's kind of what you're saying about the Saints. It's interesting because I feel like that's like a Freudian slip because it feels like you're potentially going to have that same situation with Billy Tubes and you guys basically going at it for the same house right now.
Well, no, I mean, if I were to get this house, I would not have buyer's remorse. It's a nice house.
It's a nice.
Well, you would think in the situation the younger guy in the organization who's like 22 years old and didn't just get married and isn't starting to start a family and stuff like that.
Whoa, dude. Billy Tubes. By the way, you saying that, if I know Billy Tubes like I think I do.
Yeah.
Which, you saying that, he might up his offer $10,000. He will try to cut your knees out.
Yes, he will.
Just like what the Saints are doing, by the way, potentially to Michael Thomas. Thank you for tying those two together. Let's get to some phones here. Let's go to Kenny in Missouri. Kenny, what's going on, dude?
Hey, boys, just want to say big congratulations, everybody at PMI. You guys are getting married, getting engaged, FanDuel deal, million subscribers. You guys are killing it, man.
Getting houses, maybe. Yeah. We appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Come on, houses.
We appreciate you, brother.
So, about the business side of NFL, I'm glad you guys brought that up. If Dak can't get signed by the Cowboys, then, the Packers move on from Aaron Rodgers to Jordan Love. What do you think the chances are that Aaron Rodgers maybe goes back to Dallas and meet up with Big Mike?
Okay, so I don't think that's going to happen just strictly because Aaron Rodgers is going to have to get paid. And if this whole thing for Jerry is that he doesn't want to commit massive amounts of money into a quarterback position, which I'm not saying it is. I have no idea. I'm not privy to those conversations that he has. And every day that passes that he does interviews, he sounds different and different and different. By the way, I think
is Jerry okay?
I don't know.
Jerry's getting old.
I don't know if he's heartbroken or what it is, but he sounds. It sounds. Yeah, it does sound a little bit. So I don't know what's going to happen with that, but I don't know why you wouldn't have paid Dak already, unless they don't believe in Dak. And if they believe in another quarterback, Jerry has said that his hands don't get cramps writing checks. Maybe he'll go and get it. But it does, to Andrew Brandt's point. And he said it, Stephen Jones and Jerry Jones are both on record as stating that they're going to take care of Dak. And a lot of players are looking at that. A lot of coaches are potentially looking at that if they were to move on. But ultimately, at the end of the day, business is disgusting. I mean, it just, whenever we say that's business, baby, whenever we say that, that's normally when somebody just gets completely fucked over.
That's true.
Because that's kind of been the excuse for business for a long time. It's like, oh man, he completely just, he sawed me down. I've been best friends with that guy for a long time. And they're like, that's business. Like, that's just how it works. It's like, what? Is it? Like, is that just how? And it is, by the way. As somebody who has been in the negotiation and in the Pawn Star as the item that's being negotiated in Pawn Stars, it is just, if they can save $1, make $1, they will. And the reason why is because that's business, baby. That's just what they do. It's like in this situation, I do believe because of the injury, because of the situation, because of the news cycle, Jerry and Steven are going to have to pay him. But if they don't, and somehow Dak ends up on the free agency market, I hope he gets a lot of money somewhere. I hope Dak deserves it.
Sure.
I hope he gets a lot of money. It would be good for everything. Don't think that there isn't some other people that could potentially go down to the Cowboys or might have some ties or want to go back down there. There's a lot of Texas quarterbacks that are potentially maybe run out of happiness at a place.
Ooh. Anyone specific you're referring to?
I've said it already, Pat. If Stafford wants to get out of Detroit, by all means, send him out of Detroit because he deserves happiness, and it has not come in over a decade in Detroit. Actually, him and Dallas, I wouldn't love it because I don't want to root for the Dallas Cowboys.
Well,
any other team, I would root for.
Turn your back on
But
the
wait a
line.
minute. Yeah, well, you turn your back on the lines. He just said that for sure. He said he.
Whoa!
That's what he does.
Yeah. I always said I'll be a Stafford fan too, but you cannot take the Detroit out of me. I will always be a Lions fan.
Well, we learned about the Detroit Indy the other day.
Let's not rule out the rifle too. I mean, he might throw for goddamn 5,000 yards.
Let's go to which would make things very interesting, by the way.
Exactly. If he's very successful and the Cowboys win a playoff game, then is it kind of like a plug-and-play situation
And
where
remember,
it's like anyone can be successful in this system?
I think it'll be a very different offense with Andy Dalton. I don't think it'll be the Dak Prescott offense. I think it'll be a very different offense with Andy Dalton in there. But if he goes in there and wins, you got to think back to when Jerry was being asked about Dak Prescott's contract last year, whenever he was at a, what's that charity that has the big red?
Salvation Army.
He was at a Salvation Army charity event doing an interview on NFL Network. And I think that he thought that they were going to be promoting the Salvation Army event that he had. He had two people from the Salvation Army sitting next to him. It was kind of a wide shot, a 3-shot. And every question was like, are you going to pay Dak? The entire question was like, are you going to pay Dak? And he said, that was where he gave the legendary, my hands don't get cramps when writing checks. And I just want to win a game. That's all. I just want to win games. If you win games, that won't be a problem. If Andy Dalton goes in there and wins games, what do?
Yeah.
Well, maybe they found the recipe that whenever they put a Dak Prescott in the lineup, they're going to win even more games. That's what I'll stick with. That's what I'm going to say. I think they paid Dak Prescott. I hope they do. Just strictly because I believe in that'd be the right thing to happen.
Yeah,
that'd be cool. But if Andy Dalton gets in there and just rattles off a bunch of victories and they win a playoff game, what the fuck are people going to do? I mean, what are you going to do? That's going to be a very interesting conversation because there's going to be a lot of people that are like, Dak didn't deserve this. You screwed over Dak, blah, 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 blah. And then there's going to be a lot of other people that are like, Andy Dalton's 1/15 of the price. He's winning games. Keep the red rocket in there, slinging that thing around all over people's faces. It's going to be a hell of a conversation.
I wouldn't worry about it too much.
Oh, come on. What's that all about?
It ain't going to happen.
What do you mean?
That team stinks.
It happened.
The team stinks, you think? He didn't drop the ball
Tons of great players. The team stinks.
Oh, you're talking about the culture. Yeah, it does seem like they always underperform. Always.
Yeah, well, they're going to get in the playoffs with a 7-9 record. So
NFC East. Hey, it's NFC East.
Yeah.
We heard it from a Philadelphia Eagles player. It's the NFC East. We feel pretty good about it. Let's go to Zach and Moose Jaw. What's up, Zach?
Nice. Oh, no.
What's up, Todd? How's it going on this wingy Wednesday?
Hey, not too bad here on this winning Wednesday here.
Hey.
First of all, I'd like to congratulate Boston Connor on the Lev Bell sweepstakes because we all know he's going to go to the fucking Patriots.
Yeah, we do know that. It does feel like that's probably going to happen. $800,000 salary too. He's got Cam Newton and Le'Veon Bell for under $2 million guaranteed. It's unbelievable. It probably will happen. Oh, anybody could have done it, but you didn't, and Bill did it, and now here we are. It feels like that always happens, Zach. You're right up there. Even in Canada, they feel that way. And we have a poll that has over 17,775 votes.
Massive.
And the Patriots are at 40% right now.
Massive poll.
Yeah, Zito's got a massive poll. You're
massive poll.
Hey, you can see that poll up in Canada, can't you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we can see it all the way up.
Yeah, all the way up there in Canada. Hey, what do you want to talk about, brother?
I just want to know, how does Josh Norman not do what Vontae Davis did and retire at halftime after getting manhandled by Derrick Henry in that game?
That was tough. Manhandled. Gumpy, why do you sound so not? You sound American when you speak.
Yeah.
West Coast, East Coast.
Oh, he's an East Coast Canada guy.
Moose Jaw, East Coast.
Yeah, Moose Jaw. I thought it was over there by Saskatoon.
I thought, and Saskatoon's right in the center, isn't it?
Just
2
around
clicks.
the riverbed.
Oh, just down.
We got the least Canadian.
Of all time.
He's got smooth
He
voice.
actually hates
though.
Canada.
He hates
Canada.
He does. It's unbelievable.
Toronto, beautiful city. He was burning it down.
Wow.
Hey, Gumpy. How does Canada feel about blah, blah, blah? Well, I feel. And it's like, well, that's not how Canada feels. Because you feel the exact opposite way of every Canadian ever.
I'm honest. What
True.
can I say?
Hey, and that's what they say about Canadians.
Well, I'll tell you, know, Pat, so long as he doesn't run down the great Calgary and the tradition that the Hart family instilled there, we're going to be okay.
No. Who was that? Who was that talking there?
A real Canadian hero.
Is that Bret Hart?
The Hitman.
Oh,
no.
Jesus. I'm so happy Hitman made an appearance here. That's a heater off air all the time. I'm happy we found a way to fit in.
That's Canada, baby.
The Hitman there. I forget his question now at this point, but
Manhandles about that.
Oh yeah. That Josh Norman stiff arm that he ate there from Derrick Henry. I mean, more power to him. He's getting mocked right now by everybody. He tried to tackle Derrick Henry high.
Yeah, exactly.
He tried to stand up. Like, listen, every once in a while, whenever you go in the paint in the NBA and you're trying to go for a block, you're going to get yammed on. You're going to get somebody's baby maker reproduction tool in your face. And whenever you're trying to go for blocks, you're going to get posterized. That's going to happen. Josh Norman went to tackle Derrick Henry head on, a defensive end. And he got thrown out of the fucking stadium. I mean, I respect the fact that he went for it. I respect that he sold out for it. I also respect the fact that Derrick Henry can take another professional athlete and with one shove, okay, just one little, he can send another professional athlete tumbling through the sky all the way to the sideline and then scream while doing it that he just did it. It is next level. It is awesome. I would have pooped my pants if it happened to me, but I would not have tried to stand up with Derrick Henry. I would have been diving at his ankles. He would have jumped over me, and I would have been in the background of a highlight like I was with Antonio Brown.
The best part about it was after Derrick Henry did it, he's like, oh, that was pretty cool. I'm just going to step out of bounds here so we can admire what just happened.
So this is like in soccer or in basketball. I think I learned it in N1 when I was watching N1 growing up. Whenever they would cross somebody up nasty, or they would put it through somebody's legs and they'd fall, they would just throw it out of bounds. It's like, hey, listen, there's nothing more to prove here. In soccer, if I would meg somebody nasty, I would just kick it out of bounds. Like, yeah, you got to live with that. It's almost more. It's
now get that ball now.
It's bringing attention to the situation a lot more. It's like the person that did it knows what they just did. It's like, listen, I don't have to do anything else. Let's just keep it moving forward. I used to play futsal, which is it's soccer on like a basketball court. It's smaller, weighted ball. It rolls out of bounds. It's not indoor soccer that has the boards and everything like that. In that ball, with how small it was, if you had good foot skills, you could embarrass motherfuckers. Like you could embarrass people with that thing. And I don't know what to say. I didn't take it. I think I was national champion at one point. I think I was. Is
that good?
I think I was asked to represent America on America's futsal team or whatever. Because I think I'm not 100% sure. Like literally, I'm not 100% sure if that happened or not. We did win a national championship, though. I do remember that. We had an American Power Four. Okay, and then we got subbed out, and then there was an international four that would come in. Two very different styles of futsal, because futsal is 4-on-4 with a goalie or whatever. So our American muscle team would come in, okay, and we were just lighting up the net because it was a weighted ball. I broke a dude's arm with a futsal. Like I actually broke a goalie's arm as a teenager with a futsal. And then we'd come off, get a breath, and then the international team would just slice and dice. And we won the national team. And then I think the world championship was in Egypt, and I couldn't go. I believe it was. This is, by the way, I couldn't go to it, so I kind of try to forget about it. But when I would get somebody in there, and it wasn't often, I didn't have the greatest foot skills on the squad, but when you get somebody in there and you just roll the ball out of bounds after doing it, it is such a dump on somebody's face.
Disrespect.
I mean, it is a dump on somebody's face. And it felt like that's what Derrick Henry did. It felt like it was exactly that. Cross somebody up, throw the ball out of bounds. We know what happened. Let's get back to the huddle.
Didn't they run the same play right after that, too?
They ran the same play.
Smart.
I think the Titans run 4 plays.
Yeah, work like Novocaine.
Yeah, just got to wait for it. Run the damn ball was on his mask. That meant a lot.
That's right.
Sex is cool, but have you ever tried built-in underwear?
That is cool.
Way cooler than sex.
Everyone knows Bird Dog shorts. Now they make pants. They stole Lululemon's head designer, and now they're just doing it better. Bird Dogs are pants, but they have the underwear built in. They look exactly like khakis or chinos, but feel like silky, soft pajamas. There are work pants, golf pants, happy hour pants, sleep pants, business pants, pleasure pants. The comfort, the fit, the material, the stretch are all absolutely amazing. Go to birddogs.com, enter promo code McAfee, and they'll throw in a free pair of nunchucks. Legit nunchucks With your order, you'll get an actual murder weapon alongside the most comfortable pair of shorts or pants you've ever worn. Wow. That's birddogs.com. Enter promo code McAfee. Get a free pair of nunchucks. Not easy to find.
No.
But you get the most comfortable shorts or pants you've ever worn. Plus, nunchucks, win-win at birddogs.com. Promo code McAfee. Hour 2 wrapping up. AJ Hawk and Dan Orlovsky join us on the other side. This is the Pat McAfee Show, Wednesday, October 14th. Sirius XM Mad Dogs. Mr. Aaron Rodgers. Yeah! How was the bye week? You weren't allowed to leave. You weren't allowed to do anything. What did you do?
I didn't do anything. I had the COVID test every morning, just like all of our guys.
Make sure you vote. Listen, if you don't vote, not having Aaron Rodgers Tuesday ever again, okay? Make sure you vote.
First Tuesday in November, right? So we're just going to skip the show?
No. Did you watch anything like maybe Ted Lasso during the bye week to help that entire thing out?
I didn't watch Ted Lasso.
Jesus. Come on. Unbelievable. Don't vote, Aaron. Hey, don't vote.
You know, we had a tent in nature, just camping on my own property.
You camped out on your own property during the bye week?
Yeah, I'm kidding about that.
Oh, my.
Did you really wear number 40 at West Virginia?
Yeah, it was my GPA, my favorite drink.
Oh, you are wearing shorts.
Yeah, come on, bro.
Oh?
Pat doesn't believe me that they don't give Toradol shots there.
They don't give Toradol shots. But Age would drink this green legume drink that I'm sure was legal, but it made his body he had the worst gas you could
How do you maintain that high level for so long? Is it like super competitive? Like you have to be an ultra competitive human being to be a quarterback?
Well, I think it starts with being hyper competitive. You know, I think that's a trait with all the long time great players is you just have, I love to compete. I think the most important thing is you have to be self-motivated. And again, that may seem like a standard statement, but it's not. I mean, not every player is self-motivated.
Hey, how's Jordan Love doing? We don't hear much about him.
You know, this is a good time for him to learn, to see what it looks like, to see what the week's preparation look like, and just kind of soak it all up.
And does that change where you throw the ball to people if they're more of a body catcher or hands catcher or anything like that?
You know, anybody that catches the ball with their hands, it just changes the whole catch rate. It changes the whole confidence you have in throwing them. But anybody that naturally catches the ball with their hands probably gets a few more looks. I would say this: there's places that I would like to go in the future, and one of them is Egypt.
Ooh. When were the pyramids and the Sphinx? When were they constructed? Also, like, what kind of technology did they use?
It was aliens. Say it.
Yeah, it was definitely aliens.
Bingo. Whoa. Yeah, there it is. By the way.
So the Saints, Bucks, and Panthers are all 3-2 in that division. Saints are minus 125 to win the division. Bucks are plus 145 to win that division. And then the Panthers are plus 600 to win that division. Who are you taking, Michael?
I'm probably going to take the Bucks, only because I trust Todd Bowles' defense more than I do Dennis Allen. I mean, Dennis did some crazy things last night. You know, if Dennis plays cover 3 and just makes this guy not get into a zero blitz game and throw the ball up the field, you know, make him work 12 plays down. I mean, at some point, but with that bad offensive line the Chargers have, it's going to break down at some point. Mm-hmm. That left tackle, they had to pinch him in the game, Tevy. I mean, they had to take him out. Herbert was getting his ass kicked. And you go zero pressure or you drop a coverage like they did late in the game for Mike Williams' touchdown. You know, it's just a killer. And so, I trust Todd Bowles. I think Todd Bowles is a really good coach. And I think Brady will get it going more offensively once he starts to get kind of what he needs. So I would take Tampa there. I don't trust New Orleans. I don't think you can dink and dunk.
Yeah, what do you mean about that when Tom gets what he needs?
Well, I think what Tom really wants is to be able to have he needs a third down back so badly. Ronald Jones is a good player. He's a really good runner. He averages 5-6 yards a catch. That's Tom needs his James White. He needs his Kevin Falk. He needs his Dion Lewis. He needs somebody to be able to throw the ball to underneath that he could get it out of his hand quickly. I think eventually he'll get that, and I think he's messaging to the players. They're listening to him. So I think he's making progress down there. It's a lot to overcome. I think he's in a strange situation.
Are you on the committee?
Yep.
No, you're not.
Oh, no.
And like the thing is, like,
You do not deserve that.
if you look at Pat's back pocket right now, it actually is embroidered.
Yeah, Foxy, you sound like a broken record, pal. You've said that 100 fucking times. Own up to your mistakes and get back in the game. You're my favorite player, and I'm fucking sick of it.
Don't talk to me about you, Ball.
Since you just got murdered.
Foxy, you're not only Ty's favorite player, you're also Zito's favorite
That's
player.
just not true.
I've been stressing you this whole time because of you.
We just
The Pat McAfee Show.
There'll be no rules for our guests, for us, for the things we can talk about.
Speaking his mind
I've never had a problem expressing my opinions or my thoughts or anything like that.
while being relatable.
I haven't had that manufactured fake-ass celebrity that a lot of people have whenever they go on those big networks. I've had a chance to really build my crew, build my following, build my audience.
And ridiculous.
What am I supposed to do? So I'm supposed to look at something that I can definitely afford and say, nah. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
The Pat McAfee Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show here. McAfee and Hawk, Hour 3 on this Wednesday, October 14th, 2020. Joining us now is a man who's a national champion and a Super Bowl champion. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. A.J. Hawk. How you doing, brother? How's life?
Oh, I'm doing well. I'm sure you've been backtracking on all your Josh Allen talk today.
Whoa.
What the hell? No, I refuse to buy into the fact that just because Josh Allen had one bad Tuesday night, which, by the way, has only happened 2 times in like 70 years, and they got just beat down by a team that hasn't practiced in 2 weeks. I refuse to let that skew my image of how great Josh Allen has played these first few weeks of the season, and I think he'll get back on that horse against Kansas City Chiefs. And in warm-ups, I think there's a chance that they have a throw-off in Josh Allen. Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, and Josh Allen gets his swag back because he can throw the ball. Guess what? Pat Mahomes said 83, 84 yards. That's what I think.
Shit.
What are you saying? You're off on Josh Allen now all of a sudden? What an asshole you are.
Jeez.
No, I'm definitely not off of Josh Allen. I'm upset at myself. I didn't see this coming. Like, the Tennessee Titans are one of the freshest teams in all of the NFL right now, and we thought that was a negative and not a positive heading into this game. I think a lot of people did.
A lot of players around the league are questioning whether or not these 10-hour, 11-hour, 12-hour days that are just the norm in NFL facilities. A lot of people who are both coaching and playing in the NFL, after watching what the Titans did without 2 weeks of preparation time in the facility, a lot of people are saying, is this entire system schedule completely fucking wrong? A lot of people are asking that question now, and I think we can add you and me to that list because the fastest, freshest team that seemed to be able to go through so many film operations with the Zoom and somehow maintain their shape and their conditioning and their fitness throughout this whole thing, they came out and dominated the Bills, who look like the team. If you were to say to somebody who knew nothing about football and nothing about the situation we're in, and they were to watch last night's game and say, one of these teams wasn't able to practice for 2 weeks, one of these teams was, which one would it? Everybody would have said the Buffalo Bills were the team that didn't practice for 2 weeks. Balls getting tipped, interceptions, this, that. It just looked like the Titans never skipped a step. And that dude with that stiff arm is going to be a problem, I think, for a while because they know exactly what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. It's run the damn rock all the time.
Yeah, it's run the rock, and also Tannehill plays like the perfect role in what he does. He doesn't make mistakes. He throws touchdowns. And he doesn't throw interceptions. They don't turn the ball over. I mean, Buffalo turned the ball They turned it over 3 times. Tennessee 0. That's all you need to know.
Well, Tannehill also, and we alluded to this earlier and on Twitter, he almost broke his leg in half during that finger roll celebration.
Mm-hmm. I noticed right away. I got scared for him.
Oh,
yeah.
As soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, that was uncomfortable. That was awkward. That looked painful. And then as I was watching him jog off, they zoomed in on his face, and he was smiling and giggling. I'm like, oh, he's not even feeling that right there. I wonder if he feels that today. That was definitely uncomfortable. But that team last night, just dominant. And I don't think anybody could have expected it other than maybe me and Connor.
Yeah,
I think maybe me and Connor.
Me and you had them.
And then everybody turned me at least to bet on the Bills. But
yikes.
I think a big problem with everybody is they're going to overreact to that. I think the Bills are still a good team. They just had a terrible night. And sometimes that happens, especially if it's Tuesday night. Jay Feely's on the call. Here we go.
Yeah, hey, here we go. You're right, Jay Feely. That was interesting. Was he originally on the call when it wasn't Tuesday? Is that why they did this?
I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
Jay Feely representing for the brand, he has for a long time. I think a lot of things he has said I don't necessarily agree with or love, but I didn't think he did that terrible, by the way. I think a lot of people on the internet were potentially questioning how he was going to do as being kicker in there. And me, as a person who has punted balls for a living, I could say this. Jay Feely, I don't know how he operated in his day-to-days at the NFL. I know how me and Vinatieri operated. I was front row seat to a lot of football, like practice, meetings, offense, defense. I feel like I actually... Now, granted, whenever Mike Lombardi speaks, I feel like I learn things. When Aaron starts talking about body catchers and things like that, there are certain things that people at different positions have experience and know a lot more about. But I think having a front row seat to an NFL operation day in and day out, literally, and that's what a kicker and punter is, you can pick up a lot of knowledge of, obviously, the game and the way things run. So kickers and punters don't always get a chance to be in the booth there. Whenever it was Jay Feely, only guy in the booth, I was both excited and a little bit worried that he's going to potentially fucking ruin it for all of us. I don't think he did that bad, but it was very interesting that Charles Davis, who is the CBS's new number 2, did not get that gig. He was a friend of the show. I wonder if there's any conversations inside CBS. Like, did nobody want to do it? Or was it like, let's give Jay Feely a shot here?
I'm sure they all wanted to do it. It's a CBS primetime game, which they don't have. Like, you don't ever have a game like that, do you? Tony gets the number 1 CBS games, which could be, well, no, they're, 4 o'clock?
Yeah, how come Tony and Jim didn't do it?
Yeah, and they had the Pats-Chiefs game that was early last Monday.
They should have done both. Maybe Jim didn't want to do both.
Oh, you think Jim Nance is like, hey, I can't get any swings in on this fucking hole in my backyard. You have me going out on Tuesdays.
Don't you think they could have said, hey, Romo and Nance both? Yeah, we'll definitely do it. You got to pay us for the extra game.
They are. Tony's getting $18 million a year.
He's getting paid to do that.
Yeah, he's going to want an extra mil though to do that game.
Well, give it to him then.
Really?
Shit.
That's what you're saying?
Yeah, if you're paying him that much already, then just sneeze out another $1 million and let's get a good game here.
See, some people would say the complete opposite. Hey, we're already paying you that much. Yeah. You should go do this. But we don't know how the inner workings of CBS operate.
This wasn't even rumored, Pat. This wasn't even rumored. I'm just saying they could swing their power like that if they wanted.
I don't know. What if Tony and Jim are like, Tuesday? Fuck you. We don't do that.
I drink on Tuesdays.
We don't do Tuesdays, dude. CBS is like, well, we did pay you like the most ever in the history of anybody doing anything basically revolving around TV. I don't care.
You think
Tuesday night, dude? That's no way. That's PTA night. We got a PTA Zoom call with our kid's teacher, and I cannot miss that.
It's like Big Brother on.
I wonder what.
You can't miss Big Brother.
Let's go to Cody in Indiana. Cody, what's going on?
All right. Yeah. Am I coming in?
Oh, yeah, you sound great, actually, Code.
Hell yeah. We saw on Sunday, or at least I saw, Frank Reich was talking about, and this is post-game comment, said that Phillip Rivers had a great game. So I got a question for you and AJ, because we all know that he did not have a fucking great game. We all know that. When it comes to coach speak, you got guys like Frank Reich who are there, who go to bat for their teammates whenever, wherever. You got guys like Bruce Arians down there that'll just come out and say, we fucking suck. What is, from a player's perspective, which one do you guys prefer?
Great question, Cody, and I think I'll answer for AJ and I, but obviously AJ can disagree completely. As long as the coach is always themselves, I'm cool with it. If they are an always upbeat, positive, let's find the silver lining in every situation guy, and that's genuinely who they are, I'm cool with it. If it's somebody who's like sometimes moody, sometimes a player's coach, sometimes emotional, I have a problem with inconsistency mostly whenever it comes to coaching. If somebody's consistent, I'm cool with it, because then at least everybody knows what they're getting. AJ, how do you feel on that?
I think you're 100% right. And when I think back of some of the the bad coaches that I have been around. I've been very lucky, or I haven't been around a bunch of bad coaches, but the bad ones are very inconsistent in their habits and how they carry themselves, what they do. You never know each day what you're getting. Like, okay, here we go, guys. I don't know. This dude may be super happy. He may hate us and not talk to us for the next 3 weeks. Like those kind of coaches are the worst. But yeah, at least if they're honest, I don't think anyone wants to play for a coach. They're not happy their coach trashes them to the media. But if at least he tells the media exactly what he told you to your face, then you're like, okay, I don't love it, but I respect it.
What do you think is going on with Michael Thomas and Sean Payton down there?
I don't know. Does Sean Payton really love the kid that Michael Thomas punched, the player?
No. So Sean Payton Monday night in the countdown, he did an interview from the Superdome, from the field with the Monday night countdown on ESPN. He had, I think, affliction jeans on, by the way.
No.
There were some designer jeans.
Pretty cool.
There were some pretty cool jeans. And he had a T-shirt on, and he had his hair cut short. It was a different Sean, and he had he was doing the interview in Jay's, great Jay's. He has a J deal or whatever. So he looked very cool. It was cool Sean Payton. It was very cool Sean Payton. In the first question, I don't know what he thought he was going to get asked. I have no idea. But the first question I saw was, what happened with Michael Thomas? And he was picking his words. You could tell that he was choosing his words. It wasn't like a smooth answer. It was like he was trying to figure out what he was going to say. And he talked about the encounter with CGJ. I think it was presented in the question or whatever. And then he said he also disrespected coaches. And that's why we disciplined him or whatever. So I think if you listen to stories and rumors that are coming out, and if you read Mike Thomas's tweets about the whole thing, subtly or subtweeting about the whole thing, it seems like there's a potential at odds between coaches and Mike Thomas. And we don't know if that's just Sean Payton or if it's a wide receiver coach or if it's anybody else or if this is all just a bunch of bullshit. But him getting suspended for a game while he's healthy and saying it's because your number one receiver, the guy who broke an NFL record last year, got into an altercation with a DB, like that happens in practice. Like that is what happens. So for them to suspend him, you have to think a little bit deeper. So maybe him and Sean Payton got into it. Maybe he told Sean Payton he was sick of his bullshit. And then maybe Sean Payton said, we owe this guy $12.5 million next year. We owe him $15.5 million the year after that. If we suspend him for what he just did, which is a suspendable offense, we are not on the hook for those guarantees. And we can't help but run with those potential assumptions because we don't really know anything that's happened, but it feels like a lot is set up for a potential awkward encounter between Michael Thomas and Sean Payton going forward.
Well, that precedent was set in the Earl Thomas situation, right? They didn't owe him because he had been suspended. Is that right?
Conduct detrimental or violating team rules, whichever clause or asterisk they want. The clause is the clause. Feels like whatever one they want to get him for, they got him.
Yeah. Not only does it set it up in the future if you want to move on from Michael Thomas so you can void some of those guarantees. So, hey, your owner, your GM's going to like you a lot more if it gets to that point. But I think what he's also, the main reason he would do it is to kind of set the tone, to be like, hey, man, this is our stud. This guy is possibly the best receiver in the NFL. Last year he probably was. And I'm going to suspend him because of what he has done. I have no idea what he did on top of punching the guy. And when you say disrespect the coaches,
yeah, I don't know.
What could he have done? Just gone crazy on him in front of the team?
Hey, fuck you.
Probably flicked him off.
Whoa,
yeah,
it probably has to be bad. To suspend your best player, Pat, when you're a team that's kind of up in the air, you don't know who you are yet, like that's a big deal.
What if he took 2 Gatorade bottles, okay, in Sean Payton's face and went stone cold, right? And then he goes like this, and then he walks right off the practice field. What if he stone cold Steve Austin, Sean Payton right in his face? I would A, love that, and B, see how Sean Payton could potentially take that as offensive and want to suspend him and potentially void out any guarantees in the contract. I don't know if he stone cold Steve Austin'd him, but I would like to see that get fought over in an appeals court on who owes who money when they have to demonstrate what Michael Thomas did. But right now, we know nothing about what could have potentially happened. We have no idea. But I've heard Sean Payton can be like a hard-ass coach. Like, I think everybody thinks he's cool because he wears Jordans and things like that.
He is. He is a hard-ass coach. Talk to anybody that plays for him. Like, their camps, they kill each other in camp. Their conditioning test is brutal. He works them hard during the year, but he is like this cool, fun guy off the field.
Yeah, so it's
fun guy.
Hey, I'm a fun guy. Michael Thomas, I'm sick of your fucking shit. That'd be wild. That is a situation we'll keep an eye on for you right here at the Pat McAfee Show.
Mm-hmm.
We're very nice that we're doing that. What's going on?
So, will players be happy? The Pro Bowl this year will not happen. Okay?
Oh,
but 2022, it's going to be in Las Vegas.
Ooh. Problematic.
Sin City.
I don't think they should have the game. I think it should be a skills competition. I've been on record saying this for a long time. I think the game is stupid. You're going to get nobody's best effort because nobody wants to get hurt. The only people that are trying their hardest are the people that think they can win a truck and winning the MVP, defensive ends, quarterbacks. That's basically all you got. Everybody else is just trying to survive and say that we're here. Once they took it away from Hawaii, kind of lost its buzz, to be 100% candid. I grew up watching the 40-yard dash contest and all this good time at Hawaii, and they're wearing, their leis, and they're having the time of their life, and they're in Hawaii, and they have an entire hotel. They tell these glorious stories, and then I make the Pro Bowl, and it's in fucking Arizona, and it's cold, and we just lost by 50 to the Patriots, and we got to drive an hour and a half into the desert to practice, and the hotel isn't just rented by the NFL, by the way. There's also 2 other conventions going on. So it's like literally, and we would like you to go build a sidewalk in the middle of the desert on Tuesday because Community Tuesday, you get to be here. It's like, okay, all right. So this is not, by the way, I like giving back to the community.
Of course.
I absolutely love it. But this is nothing like what I thought. And then whenever you start watching the product of the Pro Bowl, you got to get to a point where you're like, can we not have a quarterback skills challenge? Can we not have these guys bench against each other? Not 225, but have them max out, have a squat, and have money, have prizes up for grabs here. And let's just document it like it's a celebration as opposed to just a game. You make a Pro Bowl, it's a hell of an honor. I mean, it is a hell of an honor. I will always be called a Pro Bowler, All-Pro. You get it. But the actual game itself, big buzzkill. And the fans, big buzzkill. But it still does numbers because there's a lot of big motherfucking names. And if you got a bunch of big names there, why don't we make them do something that's actually interesting and make some content out of it?
Well, the game this year will be replaced by a variety of engaging activities.
Oh, fun.
Here we go. Q&As. Okay, good.
Okay.
Dodgeball.
No, see, that's what I'm talking about. Dodgeball.
Dodgeball is too cool. They would never do dodgeball. That'd be fun to watch.
They did it.
The last
They
couple
do.
years.
They do it. That's how much you hate the Pro Bowl, by the way. You don't even know that they've done that for the last couple of years. They also have like a quarterback circus that they have, which they build these big like trick shot things, and the quarterbacks have to throw it in. There's like a 5-pointer, 4.
Cool. I like that.
Me too. I'm a big fan of that.
Do they still put the chalk on the end of the ball like they used to?
And that's a quarterback challenge, which was awesome. Peyton used to be in there. Brett used to be in there. There used to be a lot of names in that thing. It used to be really cool. I think there's old footage of old Matt Hasselbeck running around doing it. That's really awesome. For the quarterback circus, the last time I got voted in the Pro Bowl was my last year. I had a dislocated kneecap. And anytime I punted, I couldn't walk the day, right? But I did it for, no big deal, 9 weeks of the season. Made a Pro Bowl with a dislocated kneecap. No big deal. Couldn't walk whenever I had to practice. Nobody talks about that because my brain is intact and I don't have to hit anybody. But let's not talk about it. In my contract, I got a $250,000 bonus if I got to the Pro Bowl, right? Go to the Pro Bowl. So I was pumped up about that. There was a clause in said contract that said if I don't play in the Pro Bowl, I don't make the $250,000. So now I had to figure out whether or not I wanted to stay in shape and punt balls for 2 weeks with this dislocated kneecap, knowing that I'm going to retire and move on and have to kick for the next couple of days because I don't want to just go out and shank balls and look terrible. Or do I go and say, fuck it, I'm not doing a Pro Bowl. So I said, am I allowed to do the quarterback circus thing? Am I allowed to be in the quarterback circus thing? If they would have said yes to that, I would have went down there and did it. They said no. I said, fuck it, I'm out. I'm not doing it. So I didn't do it. And Jim Irsay still sent me a check the day after the Pro Bowl with a letter thanking me. So I was like, hey, thank you, Jim. And just to be completely candid, if they would have just let me go and slice and dice that fucking quarterback circus, this wouldn't have even been called into question. But I appreciate you being the nice guy that you are. Very nice.
How do you think you do in one of those quarterback competitions when you're going up against the best quarterbacks on the planet?
I'd win.
Shred him.
I would win. Aaron Rodgers isn't out there, right? No. Aaron doesn't do it. Tom's not out there, is he? Nope. No. I mean, there's a lot of guys out there that don't care. It looks like they're going in there just don't. Lamar Jackson had a poor performance, but literally 10 seconds before he's out there, he has a hoodie on because it's cold as hell in Orlando, and he's sitting there like this. He doesn't even know that he's up, and they're like, you're up. He's like, oh, I'm up? Okay, here we go. And he didn't have a good performance. Lamar Jackson could give a single damn about that thing. I would have a 2-hour warm-up, okay? I would have Tom Brady's guy working on my arm before the thing. I would go into that thing fully focused and dialed in, and all the ranges of everything are right in my flick of the wrist. I think it's like a 40-yard ball or whatever into the thing. Like, for me, that is literally max throw, like, dude, perfect. They just line it up however they're max. For me, that is, here we go, from a standstill. I think I would do very well in that because the lack of effort that everybody else gives that is in said event.
There is one quarterback that always gives effort there.
Who's that?
Mr. Unlimited.
Well, and Drew Brees, too. Drew Brees is captain Pro Bowl if he's done.
Is there any thought to partner with Joe Thomas in Titan games and throw these guys on Mount Olympus?
What about Global Guts? And they end with the aggro, Craig.
I'll tell you what, there is nothing worse than potentially being a Titan in that Titan game. Could you imagine that, AJ?
No way. The worst would be at the end when Joe was trying to break the thing and there's a chain on the sledgehammer and he couldn't get a good range of motion. Like, that would make me so mad.
Well, and they're setting it up like this average guy is taking on this Titan. And it's like this average guy has been, in his CrossFit box 10 hours a day for the last 4 years training for this average firefighter who can do 2,000 floors on a Stairmaster and has been, is taking on this all-pro. And it's like, wait, can we get rid of the average-ass guy? Okay, that guy has given a lot more effort in the Mount Olympus than I have at this point. You're set up for failure there, and The Rock's just like, here we go. Here we go. Good luck. Come on. Good luck out there.
Hey, don't you think that game, what it should be, they should have, like, Joe Thomas is there. He's standing there ready to roll. Joe gets to go in the crowd and pick his competitor.
That would be cool.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Like a 10-year-old kid.
All right.
No,
you signed up for it. I would like that. American Gladiators needs to come back, by the way.
Yes, it does.
And I would
I with Hulk Hogan back in the day.
Well, I want to let you know, not just Hulk Hogan tried to bring that back. I am currently working the phones to try to get that thing back. I do believe it is attainable. I've been going for it. I'd like it to be an adult version, too, where I can say, he just got fucked up. Like, I would like to be able to do that. I really... American Gladiator shaped my childhood. And I think the fact that they're bringing back all these other terrible shows, we should bring back at least a good one.
You are the weakest link.
Great show.
Yeah,
I love that
does
show.
well.
Great show. It's doing good out there.
What was Regis? Regis had a show that was big for a
Who
little
wants
bit.
to be a millionaire, dude?
No, it was Garbage Time or whatever. No,
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. When FS1 launched, what was that sports show they had for like 6 months?
Yeah, it was like The Talk or whatever. They had 9 hosts.
No idea.
I do remember
They
that.
had 9 hosts. Regis was at the end or whatever. It was what they launched Fox Sports with, basically. Regis Philbin had just won a Guinness World Record for most amount of logged hours on television or something like that. It was a big deal. I was very
Train
intrigued.
your thoughts.
Crowd goes wild.
Crowd Goes Wild. I think that's what it was. CG dubbed.
Really?
No, I don't know if that's it.
Crowd goes wild.
I don't know. Is that Regis? Mm-hmm. Do you have a Regis?
A little bit. I'd have to listen to some more of his Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. I used to do it a lot, and then he died, and I was like, I can't really.
He left Kelly
R.I.P. Oh, yeah.
to go do this sports show.
Yep.
For hand.
See you later. 22 minutes into the hour, we have to get to a break. What's that?
Crowd goes wild.
Crowd Goes Wild. That was what Fox Sports 1 literally launched on. Nailed it.
Built on the back of Regis.
Yeah.
Until.
Turned out that show failed miserably.
Yeah.
Never
Surprising.
Good people on that show, though. They've all gone off to do their own thing.
Okay.
It's just that particular show. I think people said worst sports show in history.
Yeah, it was up there.
And then we came along.
How about that?
And then we came along and said, Crowd Goes Wild, don't you fucking worry about it. We will take the cake for you. AJ, we got Dane Orlovsky on the other side. You pretty pumped about that?
I got so many questions for Dan. I love having him on.
Dane Orlovsky said Josh Allen MVP, and he actually went on record as saying, I would like to be known as the first guy that said Josh Allen MVP guy. And now we got Dane Orlovsky has to answer the questions that we have for him.
I can't wait until Dane Orlovsky comes on.
You should have seen what old Richard Mazziano said this morning.
Dick, man. That guy is on another level.
I think that's what our show is going to become. I think that's just something we're kind of picking up like as we go, and it's going to become a very real thing. And I assume not everybody's going to be on board with it. I think Dane Orlovsky is going to have to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't have a choice.
Because he's going to have to answer some things that he has said. He's going to have to answer for some of the things that he has said.
And if not, the door's right there.
What do you say about Aaron Rodgers? Aaron Rodgers stinks, he said.
Pretty much, yeah.
All right, we'll ask him about that and more on it. I don't think you said that, AJ.
In a roundabout way.
That was a lie.
He basically did, though.
This is the Pat McAfee Show, McAfee and Hawk, Hour 3, worst show in the history of shows. Right here on Sirius XM Mad Dog Sports Radio.
His top target, the burner on play 1, puts the Cougs on top.
What a start here in New Orleans, Adam. Everybody talked about De'Aaron King being a runner. The Tulane defense knew that. It almost felt like he was going to do it. Then he pulls up and drops a dime to Marquez Stevenson to start in an electrifying fashion, man.
The fridge, Pat, is back to punt. Ryan Wright.
I love this man. 6'3", 255. And he hits a bomb for the break. The fridge saw his team was in trouble, trotted out on the field, and hit a bomb. Yeah, and I walked all the way through here, down here, sweating profusely, I'd assume. Up an elevator back here that will be loaded with humans. All the way down here, into here, kickoff. Let's call it football. Yeah. That
is absolutely magical for the brand and for Dane Roy. They had 2 returners the entire first half. They put one back there. The ball goes over his head. Perfect bounce, perfect coverage. Good for the University of Houston.
Sound didn't work. Back to the board. If I'm in a student section or in a weird place, maybe a remote area, and you have my mic on, ready to roll, my mic on, ready to roll, my mic on. So the sound didn't work on the field. So now we're sprinting up to the booth to get the reel open. We don't have the sound works up there either. My makeup's all off. I thought I looked good. It's been melted off my face. We're off to a hot start in humid New Orleans. You're gonna go. I'm gonna be so winded on there. How's it going, boys? Put it brave! Oh yeah, man. Put it brave!
McMillan.
What a tunnel for McCluskey making a big play.
The Pat McAfee Show.
That one is very quick.
Yeah, quick.
Jeez. All those serious bumpers are not, they just have numbers and letters next to them.
Yeah.
And I don't know which ones are 2 seconds long, which one are longer. To be honest, there's a good one in there, but I've never been able to find it since the one time I did it because we got like 30 of them. This particular song is by Jeff DiVincenzo, Paisan. It's called L103. I appreciate the beat. And I was going to read an ad, but to be honest, I want you guys to know, I literally have, there's 25 rejoins into the show or whatever. And I've been trying to find a good one. Like here's one right here. Ready?
I think I could continue to be an FCC regulated person without really hitting my
Oh, this one's a good one.
Yeah, I haven't heard
Why
this.
he's with us. The Pat McAfee Show. On
Whoa.
Mad Dog
Where's that
Sports
Brad
Radio
Pitt one?
Channel.
Yeah, I've been looking. That's the one I'm looking for, by the way, is the Fight Club one.
What's in the box?
That is somewhere. AJ, how's it going, man? Sorry, there's a lot going on over here. I apologize. It's just every time we come back in from a radio break, I literally am wondering what the thing is.
And not knowing if you have 2 seconds or 20 seconds.
To go to the next song. Yeah, so it's a very interesting time to be alive. I should not host a show. Everybody knows that, but here we are. Anyways, AJ, what were your thoughts on Le'Veon Bell getting cut in the middle of the game last night? What was your thoughts on him potentially liking a couple tweets that said Adam Gase was a stooge, which, by the way, noted he is, and then he's out the door, owed $6 million, offsetting guarantees, whatever another team pays him, the Jets have to make up for the rest of the amount until $6 million. What are your thoughts on the entire Lev Bell situation, Mr. Hawk?
Well, I mean, I guess I give the Jets credit for realizing like what they have. Like, okay, we can hang on. And even though the GM, it wasn't the GM who brought Le'Veon Bell in with all the money. But a lot of times I think teams will be too stuck on a contract or someone that they pay. They don't want to say, hey, we were wrong here. I think it's good. They're moving on. It's a win-win. Lev Bell's going to go most likely to a contender. He's definitely going to a better football team than he's on right now.
Yeah, unless he goes to the Giants.
Ooh. Yeah.
The Giants, by the way, Saquon, they're out. You know what I mean?
Ooh, Lev.
Hey, You
Doesn't
thought the
have to
Jets
move.
stunk. Come on.
Wait till you see our O-line.
He potentially ends up at the Patriots or the Buccaneers. And
Or
everybody,
Chicago.
I mean, he ends up at one of those places and everybody goes, okay. And he's going to figure out how to be the same guy he was 3 years ago again. And it's just going to be, the Jets fans are going to be like, we gave $28 million to a guy for 18 games. Adam Gase blows his entire career. And here we are watching him succeed somewhere else. In the exact same week, we decided to cut him because he liked a couple of tweets. I mean, it just gets worse and worse for Jets fans, especially if he goes out and balls, which I think is potentially going to happen at this point.
He's the prime example of what, when you say like a guy needs a change of scenery. Like a change of scenery, all of a sudden Le'Veon Bell is going to be what he was 4 years ago.
And by the way, this might be a freezing cold take. He might absolutely suck the next place he goes.
Maybe.
Possible. We are not 100% sure, but he might stink. And Zito, you're sticking up for him because you think there's a chance he ends up at the Bears. Le'Veon Bell is actually a big part of Zito's poll today. What is the poll?
Big poll. Where will Le'Veon Bell land? Right now, Bears are at 30.5%. Patriots are at 40.1%. Buccaneers 12.7%. Going back to the Steelers, 16.7%.
How many votes?
Well over 20,000. No big deal. That's a massive poll, right, AJ?
If you would like to potentially take part and be a part of Zito's poll, which is a big poll, at Viva La Zito on Twitter, we need to hear your voice. Yeah. So everybody's thinking it's going to be the Patriots, and the thought of Bill Belichick pulling it off again and yet again and yet again when no other team will pull the trigger would just be something that would make a lot of sense, and you could definitely see it happening.
Well, it makes complete sense. Leave the Jets on the hook for the majority of his contract. Pay him what, $900 right now? Is that what his minimum would be?
I think $850, yeah, $850,000 or something like that.
Here we go. We'll take you on for the rest of this year, and then we will see what happens at the end of the year.
And we got a lot of money next year. Our salary cap is biggest in the NFL, actually. Yep. And we're going to have to figure out Cam. We're going to have to figure out you, but let's hope it's success, because if you win, there's enough to go around. If not here, it's everywhere else. And Bill Belichick, with Le'Veon Bell and Cam Newton in the same backfield, a lot of people will say, what is this, 2016? So you know what it is 2020, and God damn it, I think you got some people that are going to try to make a lot more money in their careers, and that's playing good football with Bill Belichick. It feels like that's inevitable, and I'm over 20,000 votes, and you got 40% of the votes going there. I mean, that is quite a scene there.
Do you think he'll come down from like the money aspect of it all when he is set to renegotiate, whenever that may be, because he did just get $28 million in 18 games?
If he stinks, right? If he comes out and he stinks, I think he knows that he doesn't have a lot of leverage. But if he comes out and plays well, I mean, it is somebody's going to have to pay
17 M's again.
17 M's a year is what he wanted originally. I would assume if he gets anywhere near 14, 13, 15 at this point, he'd be pumped up about that, especially with the salary cap next year kind of being in jeopardy. I mean, Patriots have the most salary cap availability right now, I think, next year, but nobody knows what's going to happen to that salary cap. So we'll be able to see how it all goes. Joining us now is a man who predicted Josh Allen to win the MVP over Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson. He works at ESPN, one of the hosts of NFL Live. Ladies and gentlemen, Dane Orlovsky.
Yeah, Dano!
Woo!
Oh, no.
Good.
Orlovsky.
Very convenient.
Said my name wrong on purpose.
No, no, I didn't.
Second of all, they don't hand out the MVP after 5 games, okay?
You were trying to. Hey, that's the problem, Dane. You were trying to hand out the MVP to Josh Allen just a couple weeks ago. And by the way, with everything that you said, it made me look at Josh Allen differently. I actually was like, okay, maybe you're right. Here we go. And then last night, Tuesday, do we consider it an anomaly for the season, or you just think they played bad, or what happened?
Yeah, I answer the questions I get asked. They played bad, like they just played poorly. You can't, one game does not overshadow the first 4 games, or actually what he did for the last 15 games or 12 games. So he played bad. He played impatient. The Titans went full Bill Belichick mode on him and forced him to play kind of small ball, and he was unwilling to do that, and that's what hurt their football team. So I think it'll be a huge game for him to learn from. He's not my MVP anymore.
You don't say.
He's still my top 3. He's still my top 3. That's unchanged.
Hey,
but I can't keep him at 1.
Look out the window, pal. Bill's Mafia is about to fucking rain down on you for that. What do you got, AJ?
Dan, how many games, though, does he have to play like this until you do get worried?
I mean, he would have to go like 2 or 3 games in a row where I go, all right, this, like half the season you've been great, and then half the season you've been, poor. So I have zero concern with last night. I just think it's a huge learning process. It's that first time that he played on national television in a big game like that was going to as a defensive coordinator that was going to go, I'm not going to allow you to play the style that you want to play. I'm going to make you play a different way and force you to adjust. And he didn't adjust. So I'll be interested to see if teams try to do that more. I don't think they will, but I'm not concerned at all right now.
Okay, let's talk about Le'Veon Bell, because we were just talking about that before we talked to you there. What do you think his future is? I know you and I both know, and AJ, massive fan as well, but Mike Greenberg, obviously diehard Jets fan. And if you're a Jets fan, you're seeing just a couple of your best players, I don't want to say like tweets or potentially speak out about your head coach. And I think you hate at this point. Now you get rid of Le'Veon Bell. There's a good chance he's going to sign somewhere for vet min. The Jets are going to have to pay him $6 million or $5 million, and he's going to have a great year. Do you agree with that, or you think he's kind of washed up at this point?
No, he can still play. You know, yeah. I'll touch on this with the Jets. Listen, the Jets are their number one goal is to go 1-15. That's the only goal they have right now. Go 1-15 and get the number one pick. I'm just telling you, I have Clemson on Saturday for my college football game, and I talked with Trevor Lawrence for like 20 minutes today at 12:30. That dude's an absolute bona fide superstar. Like, he's going – if I'm the Jets, I'm begging to get to the number one pick. So I agree with the decision to move on from Le'Veon. They're going to get a new coach, all that stuff. Now, with Le'Veon, I don't think any team that, one, is a non-contender, or two, doesn't have like a good locker room culture should go after Le'Veon Bell. If you're a team that's got a good locker room culture and you're a contender, go get Le'Veon Bell and don't use him as a running back. You don't have to. Like, it's the NFL in 2020. You should just go get him and use him as a piece. 12 to 15 touches a game. Maybe some of it is in the run game. A bunch of it should be in the screen game. A bunch of it should be lined up in the slot or some stuff like that. And so Cleveland, high on my list. Pittsburgh, high on my list. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I've said this for weeks now, dude. They need a pass-catching running back. Don't tell me it's Leonard Fournette. Don't tell me it's Ronald Jones. I think Philadelphia could be in the conversation. Chicago for sure. But if I'm the Bucs, I'm going that I need Le'Veon.
Hey, why was Adam Gase unwilling to do all that? I know Le'Veon was banged up a bit this year, but why didn't he do that with him?
I don't think he can. You know, I don't think he knows how to. I've always said this, like, dude, I'm a 6'5", 200-pound, really, really unathletic white dude.
Oh, okay.
I cannot dance. No matter how much I go on YouTube and type in learn how to dance and watch those videos, I'm not going to be able to dance. So Adam Gase, no matter how much he watches fun offenses in the NFL, he doesn't know how to call them. He doesn't know how to use those pieces. So it's just mainly like he's only learned one offense. That was Peyton's. That was the only one. The only offense he's learned, so he doesn't know how to adapt.
I will say you are incredibly unathletic. I mean, it is, at this point, just brutal.
Yeah, true story. Could not bench 45-pound plates going into college. True story.
Could you now, though?
Oh, no.
145 on each side for sure. I'm not
Get up, Dane. That guy's moving the weight. All right, last thing before we let you go, and we thank you for joining us, Dane. You are such a good football brain. Michael Thomas and Sean Payton. Oh, your little tweet last night's got you really feeling good, doesn't it? I mean, that thing.
What a tweet. What a tweet. I don't get many good ones. I send a lot of bad ones. So, like, when I send a good one, I'm going to relish in it.
I mean, it was a couple thousand retweets, I think, at this point. That's got to feel very, very, very good.
I remember having a conversation with a guy about a year ago who's got a big, really good brain when it comes to the internet. And he said to me, likes and views didn't matter. Retweets did. And I was pretty proud about the last 12 hours.
Well, you didn't listen because views definitely matter, but the retweets are the only thing that matter. Likes don't mean a damn thing. Retweets, and let me I'll give the quick breakdown here. If you view your Twitter as a television network or as a program, and then you would quickly understand that retweets are a commercial for your program on somebody else's program. They're the only thing that matter. Likes is like, yeah, we saw that you did something and you tried your best there. Boom. Retweets are the only thing that really matter. And last night, you should see his arm. Got a lot of retweets. I'm proud of you. I was very proud of you with that. It actually made me, it got a good pop out of me. I actually laughed. And then the internet obviously did what the internet did. But this Sean Payton, Michael Thomas thing, are you guys going to talk about this on NFL Live? And what do you guys know that we don't? Because it sounds like there's potential beef between Michael Thomas and the coaches. And now there's subtweets happening. Is this all just like Pro Football Talk, Mike Florio said, so that the Saints can get out of future guarantees that they owe Michael Thomas? What do you think this is all about?
Yeah, we're not talking about it on NFL Live yet today, unless Shefty comes in the next 80 minutes and brings us something that's got kind of weight to it. Here's my thing: like, they're not moving on from Michael Thomas in the next 3 months. So maybe next year, because more than likely Drew's not there, and so they're very much their salary cap's a disaster. So I could see it next year, but they're not going to move on from Michael Thomas over the next 3 months. They got through some kind of off the field stuff early on in this spring as a football team. And so I think both those guys are mature enough to realize what's ahead of them and what's in front of them. And so I don't know, man, I think there's a lot more kind of drama to it than actual substance.
Ooh.
Interesting.
Yeah. AJ, you got anything for Dane, or are you going to let him go?
Well, 2 questions ago, you said last thing before you let him go, so I assumed he was up against something. He had something going on.
Well, he's got a show he's got to do in 80 minutes. 79 minutes now at this point. Yeah, NFL Live.
Dan, how do you feel about Pat repeatedly calling you Dane?
Who does that?
The guy you mentioned with the big brain, which when you were talking about, you talk to somebody that has a big brain that is one with the internet, I legit thought you were talking about Gary Vee.
Oh, yeah. By the way,
he's also works.
Also works.
Right hook mode, baby.
Yeah, legit. More so than me, obviously.
McAfee is AJ. McAfee's one of those guys where, like, if he's not making fun of you, you know what? He makes fun of everybody. So that point's stupid.
That is very no. I don't. You're 100% right, though. You're 100% right. Now, granted, the Orlovsky has come to be strictly because of your Josh Allen take that you forced down our throats,
Yes.
and basically told us that Aaron Rodgers stunk at football.
Verbatim.
At this point, is basically what you said.
Literally, week 1 said it's the best he's played in 5 weeks, and he confirmed it. Totally said he believed it. So.
Just couldn't hold a candle to Josh Allen.
Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, Dane, just a moment ago, you said you were talking to Trevor Lawrence. Very cool. And he's going to go to the Jets, you say. So what's going on with Sam Darnold? Where's he going to be next year if the Jets get Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah, Colton, I think that you're going to have many teams have the opportunity to make a trade.
Colton.
Retweet, dude. Retweet.
Like, you're going to tell me that there's teams in the back half of the first round that are going to go, the Jets want a first-round pick? Cool. If I'm picking at 16, 18, 20, I'll absolutely throw my first-round pick to the Jets. So I think they're going to end up, like, here's the thing. Whoever gets the 1 pick's taking Trevor Lawrence, lock it in. That's happening. So if it's the Jets, Sam Darnold will be on the move. San Francisco will be there. Indy will be there.
Stillers.
Gosh, who knows what will happen with Dallas? You just don't know. I think Dak will be there on a franchise tag, but you never know. Atlanta could be in the conversation. Carolina could be in the conversation, although Teddy's playing well. Like Tampa, there's going to be plenty of teams that'll be interested.
Why is Greeny putting Matt Ryan in Indy? Why is he doing? There's no reason for him to do that to us. He's doing that very loud too. This is 2 days in a row now in Get Up where he's like, if I'm Indianapolis, I'm calling Atlanta right now for Matt Ryan. I'm like, Greeny, I love you, big brain, great shoes, all that shit, but we don't need that in Indianapolis right now, do we? Is Matt Ryan gonna play after this year? You think?
Oh yeah, he'll definitely keep playing, and he can still keep playing. Like, I just think Atlanta's such a disaster, dude. Like, Matt Ryan, if they have a top 5 pick, Matt's probably going to be gone. One of those quarterbacks, the top 3 will get taken, would be my guess. But Matt can still play. Dude, I just think when you look at Phillip in Indy, you can't run from it right now, Pat. Like, dude, I had our research people do some stats. You're not going to like this right now, but I'm going to tell you anyway. Since the start of last season, Phillip Rivers is 3rd in the NFL in turnovers. Third, behind Daniel Jones and Jameis Winston. Phillip Rivers since the start of last season, this is the disturbing one. He's thrown 16 interceptions in his own territory. That's 2nd worst behind Jameis Winston. That's 20-plus games. Body of work, man. Like, it is what it is right now. It is what it is.
All right, get to work. Can't wait to watch it. Thanks for that, ladies and gentlemen. Dan Orlovsky.
Make sure to put that seatbelt on.
He does. He has the belt on. He doesn't want to get the wrinkles on.
Smart.
Strap. Yeah, you got to do what you got to do. By the way, nope, not saying it.
Yeah, Philip Rivers, though, I think we can
I'm a big
all-
seatbelt guy, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead. Go on.
Well, I think after Dan just laid those things out, I think it is safe to say that Philip Rivers is, in fact, done. And he,
Frank Reich says, no, we're sticking with Phil. Phil's our guy. I don't even want to think about that. If he goes out there and throws 7 more interceptions in the next game, and it's like, we have the number 1 defense in the league. We have great special teams. We seem to have a good running back. We got a good offensive line. All we need is somebody that, just doesn't hand the game to the other team. But maybe Phil just had a bad game, too.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe
he had a bad 20 games.
Maybe he had a bad 20 games.
If you're a player in that locker room, at what point do you just not give a shit what he's done in his career anymore? Like, you like that he's like fiery and 2-4 turn a corner on you. Like, you like all that kind of stuff. But at what point are you just like, okay, well, we need the other guy?
I don't know. I've never been really in that situation, I mean, I guess when Kerry Collins got hurt and I was like, all right, we need Curtis Painter in there. And then when Curtis got hurt, it was like, all right, we need Orlovsky in there. I've never had that moment. That's why I found the Chicago thing so interesting with Mitchell and Nick Foles. It was like, I don't know how that works out because we all know in a locker room, the quarterback, okay, that is the guy, all right? If that particular person has more power than everybody else on this team, that person, we go as they go. If they want something changed, they'll be able to change it. So whenever you have 2 of those, there's naturally human instinct is going to be, well, I like this person better. Maybe because his views on the food and how the day-to-day should be run is the same way as you. It's just, there's so many interesting dynamics there. And with Phil Rivers, it's like, I think the team loves him. But Jacoby Brissett, a few years back when Andrew Luck was quarterback, he was calling players-only meetings. So I would assume that natural instinct would be that some people are kind of hoping for Jacoby, but Frank has been very vocal about Phil, and I think a lot of the team is like, we still got it. We just had a bad game or whatever. I don't know.
Well, Phil deserves – he deserves some time. I don't think he deserves to be pulled yet. That's probably what Frank Reich is thinking. Like, all right, I don't want to think about that because if Phil can come out and have a great game, he can kind of silence that at least for another week. But we know Jacoby's good. Like, Jacoby can play. Whether you think he's a franchise quarterback or not, as a backup QB, I think you're in a pretty good spot if you do make the change. I would guess a lot of guys in the team, they love Phil. They respect the hell out of him, everything he's done. I'm sure they love him as a teammate, and they're really rooting for him to win. Like, they want him to win. They're like, man, we're such a good team. We really want this guy to get back to where he was when he was younger. But if he does get replaced with Jacoby, we'll still be okay.
And T.Y. would never say this publicly because he is leader of that team now. But I would assume there's people maybe around T.Y. that are like, hey, you remember when Jacoby was just like – airing it out to you, and that was like really cool. You go for it, And by the way, T.Y. a little bit undersized, but if you throw him into potential go up and get it, he does go up and get it naturally. And who knows if T.Y. maybe isn't the same guy, but it feels like he's disappeared completely. It just, I don't know. There's a lot of question marks over there. It'd be hard not to think that some people are looking around like, how many times are we just going to let this guy throw, 16 interceptions in a row? Yeah. And that defense, number 1 defense, they're probably like jogging on the field like, man, this motherfucker, like, can you please just give us a little bit of a chance here? But Phil also, maybe this is overreaction. Maybe Phil figures it out. That first week against Jacksonville, he's a much different player than he was the very next week against whoever the hell they beat the hell out of, the Vikings, I think, or whatever. So, I mean, it is, it's a very different – Phil's been kind of hot or cold, new situation, new team, new town. His kids, he got 10 of them all going to school out here. He's got to deal with a lot of things right now, especially in COVID. Maybe he bounces back next week and he's the best quarterback. We don't have to talk about it. But it sure feels like a lot of stats and numbers are saying that ain't going to happen. And it's going to continue to get worse.
This time last year, the Colts were coming off a win against the Chiefs. I mean, Jacoby had 9 touchdowns, 2 picks. Phil's got 4 touchdowns, 5 picks. I mean, give me a break.
Good bombs right there. And also, I was banging the table at Get Up.
Oh, yeah.
On Mondays.
Yes.
For Jacoby to be MVP potential conversation, much like everybody was doing for Josh Allen, because he had to start for this team that lost their starting quarterback 12 days before the season. The entire season, the entire offense was focal. No, he wasn't. Last year he went into the offseason. I don't remember. When did Andrew Luck retire? Last year or 2 years ago?
It was last year.
I thought it was last year, yeah.
Is it last year?
Yeah, because then he negotiated the contract.
last year, yeah.
Yeah, so then he got the 2-year, $50 million. Yeah, so that, I mean, Jacoby never really had an offseason where he was the guy or a team that went around the guy. In his first couple games last year with the Colts, he was very good, slinging it, winning games, extending plays, the whole thing. And he's not known as a guy who's like a freak runner or whatever, but extending plays, making plays. The team was rallying around him. I saw him gave like a motherfucker speech on the sideline. Everybody answered. I'm like, okay, this is the guy. We got a guy. And then Cam Hayward picked up a guy and dumped it on his knee in the pocket, and he got hurt, and he was never the same quarterback since then. And it's like, did he lose everything because of that injury? Because he looked like a much different quarterback after that. Afterwards, he did not look like the guy he did the first couple of games. You could see that he might have a broken knee in half, like maybe Ryan Tannehill had last night. We couldn't see. But it is very interesting. Jacoby's career is a very interesting one. And I think there's a lot of people in Indianapolis that are like, maybe last year they're like, this isn't our guy. Like, this isn't a franchise guy. This year they're seeing and they're like, well, put the guy back in that maybe is the guy. Can we figure it out? Phil's got a hot seat, I'd assume.
Yeah, I was going to say, is it alarming that they did bring in Phil Rivers this offseason? As far as, like, if you're wanting to go to Jacoby, like, why would they bring in Phil if they had any confidence in what they saw in Jacoby last season?
Well, they went to Phil because it was an anomaly of a situation. Guy already knew the system. He knew Frank, and they were looking for a potential quarterback and all that shit. I don't know.
And it's pretty rare for a guy with Phil's resume to become a free agent.
Let's go to Caleb in Nashville. True that, AJ. Let's go to Caleb in Nashville. What's going on, Caleb? Stay away from the Titans facility. There's COVID everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, hi. I literally just left my college class to do this phone call, so thanks a lot for leading the whole show.
Hey, congratulations. We appreciate you leaving that class. Yeah, I'm sure you learned more here than you did in that class anyways. What do you want to talk about, brother?
100%. CBS just released their QB power rankings for Week 6.
Hit 9.
And I'm a big Eagles and Titans fan, and even I know that Carson Wentz should not be ahead of Ryan Tannehill and Justin Herbert. So my question is, well, it's kind of like two splitting questions, but my first one is, how long do you think people are going to overrate Carson Wentz or continue to believe in him, and how long do you think Ryan Tannehill is going to be underrated by like the people in the sports community?
Great question, Caleb. Let me tell you why Ryan Tannehill is underrated, because that team goes as Derrick Henry goes. It's a running team, and Ryan Tannehill is just considered a system guy, even though he plays perfect games. So whenever you're talking about quarterback rankings, if the team sits squarely on the quarterback's shoulders, they're probably getting a little bit more judgment than somebody who isn't. Ryan Tannehill, by the way, to be underrated and get a $100 million contract still at this point, I think you're feeling just fine about that as long as you're winning games. Whenever you talk about Justin Herbert, he's a rookie, so they're not sure what he's going to be or what he isn't going to be. I assume he moves up that quarterback ranking relatively quickly. And Carson Wentz, if you look at what he did at the end of last year with a team that was completely banged up, I think that resume is still holding true for potentially what he's been doing this year. This year, there's been moments of greatness, moments of terrible. I'm not 100% sure, but I would assume the people that are ranking them take a look at the entire body of work as opposed to what you have done for me the last couple of weeks.
Well, if you're doing the power rankings, is it something to where you think like, hey, if I take this guy off the football team, what does it look like? What's this team look like without him? That ranks you higher. So if you took Tannehill off the Titans, yeah, he's perfect right now for what they are. Like, he's playing great, and I give him a ton of credit. But if you take him off, people still think they'd be a solid team.
I agree with that.
Okay.
Is that MVP or is that power ranking? Like, MVP, it was supposed to be most valuable player, but then it just turned in who's the best player. And it's like, well, that's not technically what MVP stands for. MVP stands for how much of the weight of the team's success does this man carry? Who's the most valuable member to their squad? And then it's turned into, well, who's the best quarterback? That's what the MVP is. And it's a very interesting award, but still good to get, I guess. Still good to get.
Yeah, especially when they're giving it to Rodgers.
Hey, if a guy comes on our show every single week and wins the MVP, oh my God, are you fucking kidding me?
Take note, quarterbacks. You want to win the MVP?
Come on the show. Hey, Herbert, you want to take the next step, pal? We'll see you every Tuesday.
Herbert, or Wednesday.
Or Wednesday. If you want to have Herbert Thursdays, Herb Thursday, whatever you want to do. If you want it to be Thurbert Day, I mean, you do whatever. If you want to win MVP, kid, we got documented proof. We got resume. We got research. We got studies. Do show weekly. Win MVP. How hard is it, kid?
Look at the stats.
All right, let's. We got to wrap up the show here, and that's kind of a shame.
It is a shame.
But I want to let you know that times are tough right now. But Harry's is still here to help you look your best while saving you a little cash along the way. Business on top, PJs on the bottom. Harry's has your grooming needs covered with high-quality blades as low as $2 each, delivered straight to your doorstep. Harry's is a return to the essential, quality, durable blades at a fair price, just $2 per blades. They've cut out the middleman, manufacturing blades in their German blade factory, that's been honing precision blades for a century. It's 100 years.
Wow. Oh, holy hell.
They've been honing precision blades for over 100 years, which means you get incredibly high-quality blades at factory direct prices. Blade refills are delivered directly to your door on your schedule with or without a subscription. That's why Harry's is always talked about as being super convenient. 1% of the proceeds are set aside for non-profit organizations devoted to helping provide access access to better health care for men and for veterans. And to help support those who need it the most right now, Harry's is donating $1 million worth of shaving supplies to hospitals across the United States. Listeners and watchers of this show can get a Harry's trial set for just $3 at harrys.com, HARRYS.com/Pat McAfee. Full name.
Oh, nice.
that.
PATMCAFEE. You'll get a weighted ergonomic handle for a firm grip, 5-blade razor with a lubricating strip and trimmer blade, rich lathering shave gel with aloe to keep your skin hydrated, and a travel blade to keep your razor dry and easy to grab on the go. Redeem your trial set for just $3 when you go to harrys.com, HARRYS.com/Pat McAfee, and join the 10 million people who have tried and loved Harry's. All right. This Wednesday, October 14th, is wrapping up here on Mad Dog Sports Radio. AJ, you got anything to say?
I do not. Just good luck to Mad Dog coming on.
He's going to have a great show, Mad Dog Unleashed. Zito, what are the final verdict on the poll, today's big-ass poll?
World Le'Veon Bell land. Bears 30.4%, Patriots 40.2%, Buccaneers 12.8%, Steelers 16.7%.
There you go. That's a show. Wednesday, October 14th, the Pat McAfee Show here on SiriusXM Mad Dog Sports Radio. We'll be back. Manana, Chris Mad Dog Russo, legend in the sports talk world, is next. Have a great Wednesday. Cheers.
The overhit.
The overhit on what?
Him smoking the cigar.
Yeah, there's an over-under in the YouTube comment section for how many times you hit your cigar, by the way.
Oh, what was it?
Hey, thanks, you too, bub. You have a good one. All right, we'll talk to you tomorrow. All right, we won't see you. We'll talk to you tomorrow, though.
Hear you tomorrow.
We'll hear you tomorrow. All right, have a great day.
Sounds good.
No,
right, you have a good day.
See you later, man. Better day.
No. We'll hear you, we said.
Hear you. Yeah.
Hear you later.
New guy in our ear.
Yeah, he's good.
Good energy. He was off on the count a couple times, but he had a good energy. So I was a big fan of that. That's going to happen. That type of shit's going to happen. We liked him a lot. There was a poll in the YouTube comment section, a little over-under, on how many times you would hit that cigar in today's show. If you had to guess how many times you hit that cigar, what would you think?
60?
Oh, pretty close.
Wow.
The over-under was set at 60.
Did you see is that like how many licks does it take to get to the middle of is that like what a cigar has, like 60 hits? Is that like a known thing?
No. I think I hit it more than most people. I hit it faster than most, but this is my second one, I think.
How did you even? Because there's no way you have the YouTube section in front of you. There's zero chance of that happening.
No chance.
They set the over/under at 60. Is this Pistol in the comment section that set the over/under?
He loves taking 60 pulls.
No, I've never thought how many times I've ever hit a cigar.
Well, today they did the math. I guess they counted every single time, and the number is
66.
Wow. Congratulations!
Good job.
Wow.
You made it, AJ.
This guy's a chimney.
Whoever took the time to count that, good for them.
Shout out Avery, McAfee Mafia member.
And we'll assume Avery was right.
Yeah.
We will not double check it.
Nope, no reason not to.
Right, actually.
He's a McAfee Mafia member. That guy, there's no reason for that guy to lie. Speaking of McAfee Mafia members, look out for an email for a potential Zoom link.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to try, and
it's going to be fun.
College game day. I have to change this background here every single week. We try to figure it out, So I think we're going to have we're not going to do it live, right? Because
you never know what's going to happen.
Obviously. We don't
want no butt cheeks on
But
there.
I do believe we are going to have, for McAfee Mafia members, an availability to get into a Zoom party where we are going to record it, and that's going to be in the backdrop for this Saturday's
That's
call.
awesome.
Let's go.
I think so.
Great idea.
I think so. It is a really good idea, by the way. It was Zito's idea.
No. Team idea.
Happy birthday, Z.
No. Happy birthday, yo.
Great idea, Z.
Happy birthday, Jay.
It's just like when they show Lee and they show the fans around him. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, but we're just going to have the entire screen, I think.
At all times, yeah.
Yeah.
I think you should do it live.
No, can't do it.
Come on.
Can't do it.
Can't trust
set
them.
our
Not
Can't do it.
offense.
I trust the McAfee Mafia members, but I feel like our group of people have a little bit too much fun, and that is not something that we can roll the dice with, especially with the people that watch College Game Day, by the way. I've gotten messages from people that watch College Game Day, and it is wild, the messages I've got from people that say, hey, insert name of incredibly notable human being here. Saw you on game day this morning, big fan or whatever. I'm like, cool. Tell them I said thanks. And there's been leaders of state that have sent those messages over, by the way.
Donald Trump?
Well, not the current leader of the state.
Obama.
44.
Couple previous, couple of the previous presidents, I guess, have got the chance to watch me work on game day and have sent a message through their people to my people to send to me to get to people.
Don't sleep on Barry O.
Wait, who
Intercepted.
That's Zeke doing Obama?
Yeah.
That is,
Because of the Chicago connection or what?
That is
How's
the
it
Chicago
work?
connection, yeah.
Can I hear it? Can you hear it real quick?
Don't sleep on Barry O.
This guy's an impressionist. I did not know you were an impressionist.
Does Barry O speak in the third person and say that?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
You've never talked to
when
the
he was
guy.
at Harvard.
By the way, I will say it wasn't just Barry O.
What do you mean?
They
George
were,
Debs?
Oh, yeah.
It was also the other political party as well, representative of the past and presidency.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
HW?
I do believe.
Wow.
Now watch me hit this drive.
Oh,
And
that's a
watch-
good one.
Slick Will?
Jimmy McKay.
No, I don't. Nothing has been said
Same
from
party.
the.
Oh,
From the.
Slick
Did I
Will.
see Peyton playing catch with Slick Will this weekend?
Did you see Peyton
Oh,
Manning with a
six-
six-pack?
Yeah, what-
Did you
what
see
is
this,
he
AJ?
eating?
I did. He looks awesome.
Well, that's unbelievable. I would have never guessed it. He becomes a guy who with a six-pack.
No. Yeah.
He's shredded. 2 kids, filming all those damn commercials,
Put him
building
on.
up Peytonville.
Get
that
him
whole
on
thing.
Titan
Loves
games.
drinking diesels, too.
Yeah, likes Budweiser. I mean,
Same thing happened to Favre. You saw Favre retired and got jacked.
well, Favre, I think, took a different strategy to get ripped. And I think if you look at the bodies, there's 2 different bodies of work there. It feels like there's different strategies in play there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so maybe they should ask, is Peyton a vegan now? Is he on intermittent fasting? Like, what is he doing?
3, 4, 5,
That's
6,
8.
7. He's an 8-pack. He is shredded.
Good
I think
God.
Eli put out a picture like this a couple weeks ago that he
got
looked
it.
in great shape too.
he was working out in khakis.
Yeah, he was.
What are the
But he
Mannings
did
doing?
didn't he look like more jacked than he did when he played?
Yes.
Yeah, are they? They're competing against each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they're doing right now. And hey, that's what we do. We competing with each other. That's right.
Hey, why isn't Monday night and why aren't all these other networks? Why aren't they throwing $30 million a year at Eli to be the color commentary?
I would assume that Peyton was a much hotter commodity for the commentary than Eli. I don't know. I don't know much about Eli. I don't think we've seen him talk much. He did get kicked in the ass in a Sports Center commercial, right?
Yeah,
or
he
he
did.
did the
Yep.
ass kicking in a Sports Center commercial. I'm not sure if he's the spokesperson personality. I don't know. I have no idea, to be 100% candid. I'm not sure. But I would assume they offered him a lot of money to do something on TV. That is a very TV network thing to do.
Yeah, they would. I mean, people that play with Eli say he is awesome. Say he's a goofy bastard. Like they say he's fun.
I saw him playing Flip Cup in a West Virginia dive bar. I love that. I absolutely love it. Maybe he will get a gig and we'll get a chance to hear him. Who knows? Or maybe he'll just get shredded with his brother and just enjoy life with $200 million and hopefully buy a team someday with his dad.
Put them in the
That'd be
booth
smart.
together, even Manning and Manning.
Oh boy! Did you hear? Imagine Archie running point there.
Cooper.
Archie
Boy.
running point there.
He could be exclusive to Frank's Red Hot.
Yeah, that was why he got on Twitter, if we do recall, for Frank's Red Hawk, because things are about to get spicy on the courts with Peyton, Tiger, Tom, and Phil.
And it did.
And it did. Boy, it did get spicy. We're talking classic Buffalo Wing, Frank's Red Hot, spicy out there.
Get me another water spicy.
All right, I'm fucking done with the show. AJ, what game are you calling tomorrow? Or on Saturday?
Saturday, I am UAB, Western Kentucky UAB.
Oh, that game.
UAB. Hey, I know you're. I know you don't watch a whole lot of college games. UAB, they got some studs.
What's this guy all about?
What do you mean, AJ? What do you mean?
I'm a college football
AJ.
analyst. That's all I do.
I know you're also a handicap, but
steal.
you're a gambling genius too. Like, aren't
Shaq.
you? And aren't you an expert?
Bring it out.
I am a guy that moves lines with this bad boy. You know, me and this guy here, this hammer, we've been making money together for a long time.
Big hammer.
Year and a half at this point. And it finally made its debut on ESPN, and I'm proud of this fucking office store hammer.
Hell yeah!
And I'm happy it's been winning. But as soon as this some bitch loses, I'll tell you what,
But
I will move on. I will move on to a new hammer if I have to. But we are riding a success wave on College Game Day right now.
Oh, yeah.
2-1, 2-1, 2-1, basically every single weekend. How we doing? Keep it moving. That's what we're looking for.
I like watching it when I'm usually at a hotel about to do a game. I'll wait around to see your segment. Or
wow.
I know you come
That's
back
nice.
on multiple times, but yeah.
Yeah, I've been coming on a little bit more, I think, here in the recent couple weeks. You know, first couple weeks, make us laugh, clown. Then minute and a half, see you later, get the fuck off the screen. And then now I've got a chance to talk football, which is awesome. It's been cool to be able to talk football. But that show this year, they're powering through all adversity right now. I mean, they got a table, 35 yards long.
Yeah, biggest in
that Reese is running
TV. Yeah.
They got Lee Corso at his house. the mascot, are those the same people every week with new costumes on? Or are they?
I think it's his family.
Is it his family? Because if they're not testing that, is Lee Corso in more danger at his house with all these fucking mascots coming in?
Well, they're wearing masks. Literally.
Anyways, that show's an institution. I love being on that show. I do enjoy the hell out of it. I enjoy it. There are some things, though, that we talk about. They tell me we're going to talk about the night before, and I know next to nothing about it, and I have to do a lot of research about it. I was never a guy that did homework ever. Like, just didn't do it. I didn't believe in it or whatever. This is the first show that I've had to do, like, actual homework, so I don't sound like an absolute buffoon with, potential leaders of state watching and all this stuff in college. But every once in a while, I'll get a lot of tweets from people that tell me I don't know what I'm talking about, and it turns out I'm more fucking right than they are, and their entire lives revolve around college football. So
how about that?
That feels pretty good. That's a pretty good little day for me. You know what I mean? That does feel pretty good. Like, yeah, it's not a state. Cincinnati's a city. It's like, well, they actually call it the state of Cincinnati as a recruiting tool, and if you know anything about college football, you would know that. Oh, delete tweet. Okay. Isn't that funny? Isn't that interesting, pal? So I do a lot of research for that show, more so than anything else I've ever done in my entire life. So I enjoy it a little bit.
You have to. I mean, when you're talking about like the whole landscape of college football, like every team is in play. You have to, but what you're doing, like you said, kind of cramming the night before. There's other guys doing that too. A lot of people do. Like everyone can't watch every single team play.
Well, that's my goal in the future. If I was to continue to have the opportunity of college game days, I want to watch every training camp practice from every college football team. I want to watch every single scrimmage that they have in the spring from every single college team and every single game on Saturday. That is the goal going forward because I got a lot to catch up on apparently because there is a lot of fucking schools with a lot of fucking dudes and a lot of teams good and a lot of teams are bad. And you got to talk about it every single week. All right, we'll be back tomorrow. This has been the Pat McAfee Show, October 14th, 2020. We appreciate the hell out of you. Look for that email to the Zoom link if you're a McAfee Mafia member. We appreciate you. Hopefully we'll get your beautiful face right here on this television. Have a great Wednesday. We'll see you tomorrow.